Saddle up, saddle up, saddle up. Let me say welcome and Hetty Poo to all of the Genesis family out there. Let me say it's a privilege and pleasure to be here with you once again. And you know what time it is. Time is for the People's Talkshow. I hope you're feeling good today. A bit murky today, you know what I mean? But watch the weather. We expect to have a heat wave next week, so they say. And so we want to say welcome to one and all. Get your pens and papers ready to take the number. Today, will you be call in to have your opinion? Opinions. You know what we say about opinions. Opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one. So anyway, numbers to jot down is 07404 367618, and I repeat 07404 367618. We'll bring it into the studios. You can also text in on the old number, which is 07931 27 62 and the 32, and I repeat 07931 27 62 and 32 should be able to for you to text in on that number. So remember, once again, the numbers for you to call in is 07404 367618. And how you doing? I hope everything's cushy. Hope all your ambitions and your dreams have come true. You realize your goals, and you know what I mean? And to proceed in this, I think, a very confused time we're in. Again, I should really say time is not confused. It's just the people's imaginations, and everybody's differing opinions, and everyone going their own separate way, and makes one wonder, is there such thing as unity? You know what I mean? Makes me wonder, because can everything be unified? And should we be looking for unity? I don't know. I mean, if you look at the structure of your body, everything's not going one way, is it? You know what I mean? The millions of cells and all going there, and all have their purposes in life, and yet they're not doing all the same thing at the same time. So I don't know. Maybe this idea of unity is just a myth of somebody's imagination. Because we do the multiplicity thing, there's differences, and we've got to accept people's differences, but we can also be assured that every community, the communities that we are aware of, and you yourself makes up a community, we have to solve problems, and issues. Sometimes we think that we are in charge of them, and we're not really in charge of events. Events come and go without our understanding and overstanding, but we find ourselves engulfed and enveloped in some of these problems. And I think, really personally, if you ask me, I'm not here for my personal opinion, mind you. It's the People's Talk Show, and it's your opinion that matters. But just to throw something into the ring here, I think that sometimes, because we are not in control of events come and go, but we like to give events tags and names and reasons and whys and wherefores according to our belief system, and according to our own personal angst and despotism. Some people in society's got a way with people, way with words, and they're able to somehow persuade people to look at things their way and on their ways and movements. So they have the ability to rabble rouse. And they really know how to go over on your emotions, you know what I mean? Whether they're black or white, or whether they are for liberation or they're for politics, or whatever you want to give. You've got to remember, just because they mentioned the word liberation or African doesn't necessarily mean that they are really 100% without the manipulation. They can say, I'm for you and I'm for your society, or I'm for your community. Well, they bloody well know that they're for themselves, but they want to manipulate the situation. And this is what we've got to be mindful of in this time. That's why I'm so given over to get people to understand, don't be given over to words, names and tags like liberation, black, Africa. Behind all of these are just scheming worms of people and their intentions, and their despotisms for the weak and impotent. So really and truly, we know that the weak and impotent are of the many. And since we're of the many, then obviously they make up the majority. So the people who are able to manipulate people through their emotions make up the majority, and the skilled in that sense of the word. But I would assure you that I'm not here to rip anyone off. You know, we here in Genesis, we don't believe in ripping people off. I'm telling you. As you can know, the CEO is like that. I can guarantee you 100% the CEO is like that. He's not into manipulation or ripping off. I'm telling you. I can bet my life on that, because I've known him for some time now, and the difference in between him and other groups that I have been in is a wide difference, wide gulf between those that would hide and try to rip people off through their emotion in the pretense and in the guise of liberation. There's plenty of them here in London, southeast side of things, Peckham to be exact. There are a lot of organisations masquerading as liberation, you know what I mean? But at the same time, they're there to rip you off. And if you tune into Genesis, we like to say we're the protectors of this kind of a mindset. We don't manipulate people through their emotions for money. You know what I mean? We don't ask for money. You know what I mean? Because we feel, obviously, if you want to give, feel free. But we're not going to be asking you. We're not going to be shoving any bank account underneath your nose. You know what I mean? That because we don't believe that the cost of what we give, there's no cost on this. You know, we have presenters that are volunteering every day to extend to you their vision and their understandings, and they contribute, they volunteer here every day, you know what I mean? And so we believe that 100% we are for the education of the masses, guaranteed, which is quite a lot different from many organizations that are masquerading as liberation, that shove bank accounts under your nose as soon as you look around, you know what I mean, asking you for money, you know, and then claiming at the same time that they don't advertise or they don't do this and they don't do that, but yet they can quickly to shove bank accounts under your nose. You know what I mean? So that's and how many money people that have willingly given to these organizations willingly, and they ain't going to tell you. I can guarantee you, any organization out there now in London, especially South East, that you couldn't check how much money that comes into the organization. You couldn't check. You know what I mean? And because the matriarchs and the movers and shakers of these organizations are living off of it. If they haven't got land in Africa, they've got money coming in on a regular basis. The people that give, and they ain't going to tell you. They cannot present the money to you at a glance and say, look, this is what the organization's bringing in. I bet you any money they can't do that. But you have to know where the money's gone, and you don't know where the money's gone. It's gone into their pockets, yet they're screaming out liberation and organisation and Marcus Garvey and this and Africa that and at the same time they're ripping you off because of your emotions. This is what the thing is. Don't be manipulated through your emotions, through the fact that you're black, through the fact that you was once enslaved. You know what I mean? No big thing. You know what I mean? You, through the fact that your ancestors were once enslaved doesn't give them the right to manipulate you through these things. You know what I mean? Because you're vulnerable. You understand? And because you're vulnerable, they have been trained well by Massa, right? And they've been doing this now for the last 30 odd or 40 odd years. Having organizations around that mindset of being black and African and the diasporan, the historical. This is mainly the thing of the historical diasporan, who is mainly geared around what happened to their predecessors 500 years ago, and they can't get over it yet. And I was saying that they don't have any intention of getting over this trauma. So we are in trouble, really, because if that is the reason, and these are a couple of the questions I want to ask today, right? Because it's real, and this leading to what the topic is today, and it's what is the most what is the most important or the problematic thing that our community faces today? What is the biggest stumbling block, do you think, in the way of our community today? That's what I want to find out. That's the topic of the day. So you think about this. You know what I mean? You can tell me, because I need to have a consensus here, that I know that we can seriously, without pressure, have people call in and let us know what is their take on the most influential thing, or the problematical thing that the black community faces. Now, I use the word black because, I suppose we've been educated that way to look at ourselves as that. Nothing wrong with being black. But we are like tossed between everything else and being African and being black. And it's like this is where those movers and shakers of those back to Africa ideology that grow up around London, South East especially, that are for the weak and impotent minds, because some of these people can't really think for themselves. And also you have some groups of people that love to be led. They love leaders. So we're looking at the nature of the masses of the African then mass. Since we always engage in looking at everything black and everything African then, which I think it's wrong. We should be looking at everything political and systematical. How to use the system is my own personal opinion, but it's not about me. It's not about my opinion today. It's about your opinion. And I'm trying to find what is the greatest obstacle in the way of the black African development to date. Because obviously there's something in the way. But I want to know if we are conscious about this. How many of us in the community are conscious? And I want to see now. All right. This is the litmus test. I want to find out what is the greatest obstacle in the way of African and black diaspora and historical diaspora, mind you, development and to date. You may not even see, and really, to go with, how do we really see life? Do we all see life the same way? There's so many avenues that we go around and go down that masquerade as life, and we can 100% guarantee this is life and this is a problem, what needs to be solved, and you know what I mean. And we go bundle on certain things. There are those that are in groups and organizations that have organized around this political, not particular thing, not political, but this particular idea of the need for people to recognize their identity. There's a crisis in our identity, according to these Back to Africa historical liberation groups that have been around for some 30 odd years now and can't muster more than 100 people or 200 people, they think, because they've got a little gathering of 300 people. If after 40 odd years you can only muster 300 people, then you're in trouble, aren't you? Really and truly, come on. 40 odd years and most you can muster on a given event is 300 people. You are big problems. And that 300 people wasn't organized directly by them, maybe by someone else who has much more talent than the organizers and the leaders and the movers and shakers of this particular ideology. And it seems to be the theme, because you don't hear anyone else. This is the trouble. This is why I want to hear other voices. I don't want to hear about this particular group anymore. I'm tired of hearing them. And of course, nobody else want to speak, so I want to know if there's any other voice in the black community other than these. Is there any other voice? This is the trouble. Because we only hear one side of the story, one particular voice coming from one group of radical activists, so-called black consciousness, Back to Africa group, people will think then that is our group's, our community's problem. This is why I asked the question. What is the greatest obstacle that we face today in our progress, in our development of the community? You know what I mean? And we want to know, what do you think? What is it? Can we have a consensus today? I want to see how many people agree or can come to a consensus and say, well, this is the obstacle. This is the obstacle. I want to see how many people are in agreement about this And numbers are to call in are 0, where are we? Come on. Are 07404 36 76 18. And I repeat, 07404 36 76 18. And the number, I think there's a Skype number, not Skype, a WhatsApp number as well. I do believe on 07440370200, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. I was told that. And so you can call in on that number and give your version and your opinion on this number. And I think you can also text line is 07931 27 62 and 32. I want someone to give me a one ring on that number where I just gave out to make sure the live link is working. Could you call in and give me a one ring on that number on the 07404 36 76 18. Just give me a call on that number just to make sure that his number is working, so we can have this conversation. Also, just text in on that 07931 27 62 and 32 to make sure that we have contact. If you can't get phone lines in, but I'm assured that the number I gave out for the live calls are the number that we just gave out. And so I just want to hear a one drop call on that to make sure that it's working and to make sure that you are in tuned and able to share your ideas and concepts and personal opinions to say what is the greatest impediment then that is in the way for our black development. Not unlike any other group. Are we different from any other group? I don't think so. Are we not struggling for the same thing? I don't know. And why is it that the black group is struggling for some extraordinary thing? It's like a life and death struggle for the black group, more than any other group that's competing in society. Is our group so special because of an event 500 years ago? Okay, what's that? Right on. Okay, yes, thank you for that one drop. That's the text line, thank you. So we know that line is working. Lovely. Fantastico. Let me put some charge on this phone here. So you can, so we know we got that working. Brilliant. Oops, come here. Okay, that line. Just want to put this phone on. Where are you? Come on. I see you there. Okay, let me just get this make sure this phone's well charged up. Put this where are you? All right on, you're there. Put you in here. And put you here. Okay. Right, so the phones are on charge, so we make sure we've got enough juice. So is it greater than any other group? I think I've been blinded by the light here. I think somebody's trying to manipulate me through my emotion. Really. And we've been manipulated for our emotions for such a long time, but we can't think straight. What is the greatest impediment in the way of the black community today? If you think there's a special need for them, it's because of the slavery thing, which I don't think that we're ever going to get over, because what I'm getting from these Back to Africa fringe groups, these little fringe groups that are mounting up today, is that we're never going to get over our trauma. They don't want us to get over our trauma. Have you ever noticed that they have not given us a time and date, or even shown us what plans that they have for us in healing? And what I've come to see now is this muddying of the waters. They try to mix and blend and when liberation and repair. They think we're all stupid, but we're not stupid. That's why I told you, this is for this kind of organization. Is for this Black Africa thing. Is for the weak and impotent minds. I'm telling you, those are the things that are used to manipulate us into non productive ways. We've been doing this for the last 30 odd years. Have we gone any better? No. We're still on the periphery, weak, and not able to compete effectively in society. We're not the least. We're not at the bottom, but we're the second lowest group. And you'd think after 30 odd years listening to these little historical African diasporans, right? That being speaking for us, and I heard an argument the other day that really peed me off over the airwaves. A lot of things that pees me off over the airwaves, coming over the airwaves. And we can't even stop it. The only way you can do it is not to tune in. But I feel that the airwaves are a free thing. We can tune in what we like. Doesn't mean that you're going to dominate the airwaves, is it? Like, you don't own the airwaves. You don't own liberation neither. See? So I can tune in if I like, even whether I agree with them or not. I can still tune in and have a laugh and listen to the ridiculous statements that are being produced by these little fringe groups, these little know-nothing personalities because of their trauma. You know, and people's personal despotism. That's what we suffer from. We suffer from the despotism of people, plus the willingness of the sheeple that surrounds these people. Sheeple-minded people that are just like, yes, zombies, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, I'm African, oh, they're slave, zombies. Have we become zombies? Because we ain't done anything. We can't compete effectively in society after learning what we have learnt for the last 30-odd years, brethren. Where are we going? Are we set for our next 30-odd years of weak and impotency? What is our quest? This is why I ask the all-important question, what is the greatest impediment then? Since, I have an idea what they would like it to be, but I want to see if you can decipher this without even, what is the immediate thing that comes to mind when you think about the greatest impediment? It seems like little fringe groups have it as what they're talking is the impediment that prevents us from developing. But I have a little sneaking feeling that it's not really the Caucasoid that's going to be the one. It's these little fringe groups that are blocking our progress, not a white man. I'm telling you, I've come to that conclusion. But again, it's not my opinion, it's yours. So I'll keep my opinions to myself at the moment. But I want to see whether we've got it right. You see, I want to see if we can have a consensus. Once we have a consensus of the idea where we're going, we're not going to be boxing blind anymore. We're not going to only be hearing our way through life anymore. We're going to see. We're going to use the all-important senses, and that is to see our way through life. I'm no longer going to be hearing my way through life now. You see, I don't want to hear my way through life anymore. I did that some years back, even when I was a convert to Christianity. I heard my way through life then. Somebody told me that there's a geezer called Jesus that, no disrespect to no one's belief system, but I'm just looking at it as I saw it. There was this geezer called Jesus who decided that he was going to die for us now. Now, this is the kind of mindset that's all involved in this whole thing. Why I don't think we're moving. But, this geezer died 2,000 years ago. Everything's always historical, isn't it? Happened 500 years ago. Jesus Christ died 2,000 years ago. What about now? Can anything happen now? We know what's happening now. We got the gangs. That's what's happening now. We got our youths disenchanted. That's what's happening now. Our youths cannot see any future. Why? Because those that grew up in society before them don't even know anything themselves. They don't know nothing themselves. People of my generation, toss between liberation and black African and identity and actually how to use a system is not known to them. So what do you think they're going to pass down to their children? Nothing. Because they don't know. They think that they're on a quest for self-identity. They're on a quest for African identity. Is there anything wrong with that? No, but that's not going to be helping us. That won't help us one iota. This is why I always make a distinction between that. And I'm looking at what's the first and fundamental thing in our community. If you was a stranger, you walked in there, what you think you'll be hearing? I know what I'd be hearing, I'd be seeing, but that's not really the true test of what's really going on in the minds, in the collective minds of the black community, because I speak about a collective unconsciousness and the collective consciousness that is exhibited by us, but I don't think we've connected to the collective unconsciousness, which is an automation, and the collective consciousness is what we willingly do together and how we see ourselves. What about our collective identity? That's the problem. We have the wrong identity. We have African identity when we shouldn't, when we're in a Western world. And they look at us and say, but you're not African. You don't eat fufu. Do you know Gary? you just speak African language. Well, how come you say you're as much African as the whole human race is African? And we don't realize that, and nobody told them. This claim for identity, to become our watchword and song, you know what I mean? So much so that we're marching. They got us like zombies, brethren. Is that the mindset? Is that the collective consciousness of the people that are going on there? Or is it just the despotism of a few desperate individual personalities and organizations that can only muster 200, 300 people after 40 odd years? And can't even get enough signatures to do what they want to do. Failure after failure. Are you set unconsciously for another 30 odd years? Then when our youths are out there and they don't have any psychological support, what they're seeing, they probably don't like what they're seeing. They're hearing. They say that you adults want us to identify as bloody slaves, and they ain't having it. And I don't blame them. I wouldn't if I was a youth. You couldn't come to me with no slave talk when I was a youth. You know what I mean? Maybe I spent most of my time physically fighting white man and them thing there when I should be much more advanced in my thinking. It's all physical then because the white man's coming to kill us. The white man's, they were very smart. They never had to touch us. We mash up ourselves by just with the mere thought of them trying to attack us. So we're so engaged with fighting them in an imaginary war that our minds are not fixed on the system and how to leverage wealth, how to deal with politics. Those are the more important things than bloody culture. How about that? If you were in Africa, then you could do that. But you're not in Africa now. If you want to go, why don't you go? But if you're here, how can you then associate 10,000 miles away and at the same time you say you're concerned about our community and our youth who don't even know why we're not able to leverage all of this 300 billion pounds of spending money, which we need a leader. We're not only a particular leader. What we need is somebody who knows what they're bloody doing. We don't want people to tell us about Africa. I mean, that's a lifestyle choice, right? I don't want to bloody know about what happened 500 years ago. Useless. It's about time somebody call a spade a spade. And you will hear that on Genesis, nowhere else. I don't care what, at the end of the day, what happens 10,000 miles away? Somebody ain't got no shoes 10,000 miles away. I'm going to go and build a school 10,000 miles away when I've got bloody problems right on my doorstep, brethren. You see, this is the thing. This is the mixing and matching that these little historical African diasporan people are involved in. And I couldn't put my finger on it, but now I can. You see? And I can say, if without an apology, that it's confusion twice, confounding. It's not rocket science to work that out. This is the mind and the fickleness of the community's mind, because but then when you check it out, people, if you look at the statistics and the consensus, this is about, see, we don't even want to write consensus. When the census form comes around, you're going to do it. One time when I was in Genesis all them years ago, do you remember? And they had the chat room, and people were saying, Heru's filling out the consensus form, and they laughed and they mocked. And see how stupid the community is not stupid, but they haven't been well educated. Not because, and I don't mean that they're intellectually stupid, No. I'll never doubt anyone's intelligence. I wouldn't be so disrespectful to call the community stupid. No, it's not that. But, and I can understand when they said, oh, Heru's filling out the census form. But then, because when I look at the statistics, I understand then why. Because they can use that as statistically to work out things. It's not because they want you to bloody, it's not a crime to fill out a census form when it comes. You know what? If everyone did that, then when they make these statistics, then it'd be more fair. They don't care whether you want to sign or not. In fact, they probably don't want you to really sign. So we have a false representation. If you ever wanted to know the real collective consciousness of our group, we can't. Because you didn't fill out your census form, and I'm not a representative for a census, but I don't think there's anything wrong, in doing that. At least you can look back, and some of them who do, we don't have a really true representation of the numbers, because a lot of you are being educated by the maybe self, by this collective unconsciousness thing. I don't know, this refusal, because you've been trained to oppose everything, and this is why we lose out. And when we think we're doing good, we ain't doing good. To oppose everything ain't good. No wonder why we're at the bottom, brethren. Now you can see, being in opposition, you end up where you are, innit? At the bloody bottom. And then you look around and start to wonder, you start to say, we're in a racist society. Look, whether we're in a racist society or not, doesn't mean that we have to end up where we end up today, following nonsensical ideologies. This is why we're being led by the bloody nose by some of these people who you should know better. And I say, if being African is all that they can offer us, we might as well just be cannon fodder for the people, brethren. We cannot have a collective consciousness here on who where we're supposed to be politically. Rise Up Dero and the sister I was with today, she's politically astute, and I asked her to come in the studio with us, let's talk politics. And she said, maybe one day. I said, okay, I hope so. So, with all of that, we are where we are because of what? Are we being properly educated? Are we being correctly led? Is the collective consciousness of the black group so weak and impotent that he has to rely on being black and bloody African? There's no wrong being African, I don't think the Africans are probably fed up hearing this term being battered about by these fake Africans, you might as well call them. Sorry, but I'm telling you the truth, brethren. The historical African historical diasporic African. And do you know who gave them? Did you know who gave them that name? I've been doing research, brethren. I'm not making it up. I'm not speaking from the 23rd chapter of my imagination here, but I'm speaking on what the AU, yes, the Union of 54 African country states, right, versus the little diasporan historical people that are stuck in 500 years ago. I'm not even speaking for Africa, because Africa is saying differently from them. And this is the problem. This is what I see as a problem. So I'm giving you my opinion, which I shouldn't really. I think I'm going to hold fire with my opinion. I'm going to leave it for your opinion, really. No, it's not my opinion. If you want my opinion, then you've got to tune into my shows. And I won't be here for a couple of days. So I think I'll be back on Thursday in the afternoon from 1 onwards, where I can give my opinion. I know what opinions are like. Like arseholes, everybody's got one, but that's what we got. We're going to share our opinions. This is not the show for me to vent my spleen on my own opinion and where things are. You can tune in on Thursday for that. You say, but here, I want to find out what your opinion is, brethren. I want to find out how you see things, because obviously we can get a consensus on how what the problem is, and we've never done this. I've tried this so many times to get a consensus on what people think the problem is, and that's why I ask it again today. What is the most fundamental or what is the stumbling block then in the way of our development as a community, not more different from any other community? I mean, the question is, does the other communities face the same thing we do? I mean, really, when we're talking about that, we have to look at it collectively. It's not an individual thing. Collectively as a group, what are we making use? Are we making use of the resources of the world? Not the world, but of the society we're in. Are we competing fairly? Our youths, what kind of future? I don't blame our youths, because they don't see any future. And I put myself in their shoe and I'm thinking, boy, yes, things are changing politically, but we're not fighting for them politically. And so, okay, since you lot are not fighting for us politically, then we've got to sort our own selves out. And this is why they are in the position they are today, because they don't see any future. They're at 18. Really, things never fall into our lap as a youth. In any case, when we were young, we're not saying that things should fall like manna from heaven. You know what I mean? Into our laps, everything's ready made. No, there's a struggle to be had. But you see, how many bloody struggles are we going to fight on at the same time, man? The other day, a man came up to me, struggle. He wants us to sign a petition for ganja. Right? I'm thinking, hang on a minute. You're asking us now to sign. First of all, you want to sign signature for reparation, right? Right, fine. Now you want us to sign signatures for ganja. Now, see, in both accounts, we've never been consulted and see whether if it's a good thing or a bad thing or a waste of time, how much it's going to cost us to march. Those things weren't consulted, brethren. But you were made to feel guilty because they're saying we're going for what happened to our ancestors 500 years ago. So they use that tactics of emotional blackmail to come and blackmailing you to think, well, if you're not concerned about the Mangamese, people killing people, what's the... Look, are we international rescue or what? Are we Thunderbirds, brethren? Man trying to turn man into Thunderbirds now. I don't understand it. Maybe you can make sense of it more than I can, but I'm putting it out there because I want you to enlighten me. Then I might be ignorant, but I want to know, why are you turning us? Are we international rescue? Are we Thunderbirds, brethren, to go out there and try to stop Europeans killing many of our people 10,000 miles away? You know. And this is where we're at. How many fights are we going to have on the same bloody time? We're going to now they're asking us to fight for ganja. And another thing as well, I heard over the airwaves. This is what we get in the south, in London, southeast side of things. This is what we're being bombarded with every day. I feel sorry for the people over here, brethren, but I have to offer some relief to this thing. I don't like the idea of us being manipulated like that, bombarded with these, whatever it is. But I want to assure you that you don't have to worry. You don't have to follow them. Yeah. Now they're telling us that we need to sign the petition for ganja, and then another thing also that the Rasta wants to be the intellectual or have an intellectual right, brethren. This is what I've been hearing. I feel, what's going on in this place, brethren? You're telling me that the Rasta them decide, and this is what they were saying over the air, that they have the right to be the intellectual leaders or the spearhead of the intellectuals of the liberation group. They think because they've been talking about going back to Africa, they automatically got this bloody right to themselves, brethren. What happened to the land that Selassie given them? What happened to the land that Selassie... Did you lot develop that bloody land? How many years? He never gave it to you anyway. He gave it to anybody who wants to go back to... They didn't give it to Rasta. They gave it to them. They put it in... They put Rasta in charge of it, but it's not for Rastas only. And yet they don't even say that to you. They said, Barled can't go Zion, a brethren. So all of a sudden, they've ruled us out, Barled, right? And it's took it onto themselves. Self-righteous attitude. Now they're saying that they are the intellectual spearhead for this liberation movement. That's why I don't want to join no liberation movement. Is it worth it? And again, I don't think, what are we liberating from? What are we fighting against? This is another thing you can think about as well. You can have your opinion on. What are we fighting against, brethren? Where is this war? I don't see any smoke. I don't see any... theatre of engagement. Where is the theatre of engagement of this struggle that they keep talking about? Is it real or is it imagined? I don't know. I think it's more. I think it's the latter, because if the rest of them are going to say that they're the intellectual side of things, right? Then they're not very clever, because they're saying that ganja and marijuana is two different things. I don't know if they mean the name. They're trying to claim intellectual property on the word ganja. We don't grow ganja. We don't grow marijuana. We grow ganja. And I say, what? Is that a different plant or what? I don't understand it. Is it a different plant? Is it the male or the female of the same bloody plant? You know what I mean? I don't understand. And you say you're intellectual. And that's going to make me look stupid, go to court for that. We don't grow ganja. We don't grow marijuana. We grow ganja. And that's going to make us look right stupid, because it's the same bloody plant. And even worse, when they say that it was on this ganja, where does ganja come from? You think it's come from Africa? If you do study and see where ganja comes from. It don't come from Africa. It didn't come from no... Well, I don't know, but maybe ganja does. I don't know, because ganja must be a different plant. I don't understand. But it originated on the grave of Solomon, my backside. What do you mean on the grave of Solomon? You know where ganja come from? Europe! It grows anywhere, brethren. You don't even know special sunlight grows there. It's Europe it first come from, and it's the same thing that they gave the Black Power movement to make it say, black, I can't be bothered. This is what ganja did. With the TC, whatever you call it, in it, you take it out or have it in or out. You know what I mean? But it's the one that gives you the high, which is really a low. You see what I'm saying to you? And the ganja thing was given to the Black Power movement. That's why the Black Power movement fizzled out. You see, it does something to your brain if you smoke it. But if you drink it, if you make it into something like that, into products, fine. But I don't know whether the rest of them want to still smoke the damn thing or to use it in its proper way, boil it, drink it, make things out of it, all that kind of thing, books, book covers, trousers, everything out of it otherwise. Or are they still going to be smoking it? How about that one then? So this is just a scheme to allow them to keep doing the wrong thing. If they were that interested and concerned about the ganja plant and its uses, then they would stop smoking it, because it would kill it. You know what I mean? Smoke of all the seed and everything. You see what I'm saying? And it was not doing you any good. All right, Heru, do you smoke ganja? Well, I'll tell you what, I'll leave that up to my own personal thing, brethren. I ain't going to, discuss my personal business over there, really. So that's just to answer those people. I can feel the question. You smoke? Now, whether I smoke it or not, and do I think it's right to smoke it? I can say, no. I don't think so. Can you be hooked on it? It's another story. So, I mean, at some point, even if I did smoke it, I would like to have given it up. You see what I'm saying to you? Let's be honest here. Let's not just, mix and blend like they do. And then there's another thing I can't understand with the historical diasporan. They use a tactic called the non sequitur. You know what a non sequitur is? A non sequitur is a argumentation, used in argumentation. And they've learnt this very well from the Caucasoid. Non sequiturs. Check it out, what it is. You heard it first on Genesis, first on the Heru show. Non sequitur, and it's what they use to bolster their ideology. They're not stupid. That's why I said the Back to Africa group has become very cunning, like Massa, cunning in their attitude. Especially the matriarch of the ideology, whose self-righteous attitude are looking sheeple to control. They're not going to elevate you. You got to, and these people keep bearing their backside for you to kiss it. I'm telling you. So when you hear this, you got to be weak and impotent-minded to follow. The more ignorant you are, is it better for them. That's why you hear them telling you, and it's a big contradiction as far as I'm concerned. They hear them telling you, they don't like learning. Anybody that's learning, the Back to Africa diaspora and historical movement here in the UK, London southeast side of things, Peckham to be exact, don't like learning. You hear them every day. These people, like a little mama man thing. You know what Jamaicans call mama man. Always complaining about people that learn. Them people they say with the education, like a little sissy mama man. And you know what it says about the ganja when you smoke it? You know what they call it? Lady Jane. It's turning them into women. Nothing wrong with being a woman, mind you. But if you're not born one, then you've got mega problems. But I'm talking about it makes them feminine. And the way they're going on, I'm not saying, I'm no disrespect to females, but I'm just saying compared to the male, who's supposed to be robust and, doing his job, what he's made for, and that's to protect, right? Women are to do what they're made for, is to produce and look after the home and be, of course, be career-minded, of course, everything else that goes along with that. But, I'm talking about the role that nature has made for both male and female. You can't tell me that there isn't a role. Nature didn't make man to do women things, did he? Did she? Or did he? Did she? She didn't make man to dress like women, even though there's nothing wrong with being a woman, but you can't see a man dress up like a woman. You're acting like a woman in bed with the next man. You can't say nature made them to do that. You know what I mean? So you got to keep the role. Your role, if you look at the man's makeup and anatomy, it's got this thing, extra leg there. What do you think the extra leg is for? Joke? Not only to let out urine. What do you think that nature gave you an extra leg for, brethren? It's not to put up somebody's rear, is it? Neither, if you pardon the expression. To seek somebody else's dirt box is definitely a sickness, brethren. If you look at a big old crafty man, and you got an erection for a crafty, tough back male, and all of a sudden you got erection for that, you need to chop it off, brethren. Trust me, you need to chop it off because it's wrongly orientated and it's against nature. And if a woman looks at another woman and look at her like her as she's when you fancy, you must rub up crutches with her, if you pardon the expression, brethren, then definitely you're sick. Because you look at the nature of it, it's two crutches that can't rub together. It don't work. And that is a perversion. It's nothing natural. And they have made this perversion into politics, brethren. Your perversion. So I want to ask them the question. If you saw a horse and you wanted to make love to that, do you think then that it's proper? But you're talking about rights, and you have a right to sleep with a horse, then fine. If you want to, in actual fact, the way I see it, you have a choice. And it's true, we don't take away your freedom to choose. If your perversion leads you to want to sleep, if you look at a horse, it has to happen in the mind first. You see, naturally, the way nature has made this, when I see a woman, I have to look at her first, innit? I can't just, because I'm in the presence of a woman, it's going to happen automatically. No, I got to look at her first. When I look at her, I can see all the attributes, all the beauty coming from her, and all the emanating, all the force to in line with my male anatomy, then which will excite that, and then we'll have the erection in it, don't it? Whatever I like about a woman is there. It's going to excite my male agenda inside of me, but nature put there. I didn't put it there. That's why sometimes when you try to legislate for people's feelings, and when you made the vow, keep thee unto ourselves, it's a wrong vow, brethren. Because at the end of the day, to keep thee unto myself means I've got to find somehow to remove that desire. Even when I'm married, the desire's still there, Come on. It's not just aligned to being married. It's something that's automatically there for me. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. I hate when mothers tell their children, you're just like your father who might have one or two or more children. That's unfair, brethren. That's really unfair. You shouldn't do things like that. You're just like your father, got kids everywhere. Oh, come on. You are being hold on one sec. Let me get this call here. Oops. What is that? Just a one drop call. I've got a few texts here as well. Oh, play this. Okay. No, sorry, that's not that. Okay, cancel. Right. Right. Let me just. I got a few. That call there. Caller, if that's just a one drop to make me know you're in agreement, that's fine. Thank you. I got some texts I'll read out in a minute. Yeah. So I don't think it's fair to tell your child that these things are. You're just like your father. You know what I mean? And so forth, because you have this natural urge for women. Of course, it is curbed by society. It has to curb those desires and put them in their proper place and have them under control. Yes, we do agree. At the same time, you cannot condemn people, call it a sin. How can you call sex sin, brethren? The only way I think you can call sex sin is because it's when you pervert it. That's when it's sin. Sex is not sin, but when you pervert it like that. Imagine me looking at a big old crafty brethren and my thing stand up. I would have to go and seek help from. I would be in need of psychological help. Seriously, that's when you know you're sick. And I want to help people today. I want to help all those who are trying to make this sickness normal. It's what I'm trying to say to you. That shows you, they're mentally sick, and some of them are well, intellectually astute. In times, sure, everything you were looking at them, they managed to portray whatever they want to portray, but in reality, they're sick people, sick. Oh yeah, that's more than my opinion, because nature is on my side like this. I don't care what anybody else wants to say. I'm nature. I'm on the side of nature. If the Supreme Being has made me with a tackle, and I know what to do with that tackle, and I'm trying to take that tackle and put it up somebody's backside now, whether it's male or female, that's got me sick. What's the matter? Don't you know the back from the front or something? Can you tell? Can you tell? And now here you're going to tell me now that I had this argument in a group. There's a certain group I'm in. We had a biggest argument in there, a discussion, put it that way, about the picture of these brethren, about 5 of them getting married. A whole group. Let's see. Oh, people are ringing in. Call up. Greetings. Okay, let me. I think that's just a one drop again. Thank you, caller. If you're not, can call back. Try again. What's this going on here? Oh, every time that rings, this comes up. Okay. And so there is this thing, and we got to know what is natural and what is unnatural. And within this argument in this group about this, there's these brothers, 5 of them, I think, getting married, all men, black men, dark, melanated men, You know what I put in there? I put, boy, you could have melanin coming out your ear hole. You could be black and have melanin coming out your ear hole, brethren. It doesn't stop you from, it seems like we're still susceptible to perversion. That's what I put there, because they were black as the ace of spade. And we was both boasting about melanin, melanated this and the melanin, and yet you can still have melanin coming out your ear hole and you're still perverted. So melanin doesn't stop the perversion. This is why I said sometimes we've got to be careful how we're being manipulated by these masters of deception that sit round the cauldron, rub their hands with glee as they mix and match non sequitur type of way with especially with reparation and marching. That's a non sequitur. Check out a non sequitur. If you've never heard about a non sequitur, then you know that they're skilled in this. I say, what has marching got to do with reparation? And they bend the word now, telling you this is a form of reparation when we march. Rubbish. Nonsense. What do you mean? You can't bend every word to suit your own ideology like that. Then you're taking the Michael, aren't you? Then you're really ripping us off. You don't have no respect for our intelligence, brethren. You can think you can tell me that marching is a form of repair. It's not even a form of, what do you call it there? therapy. If everybody wouldn't march to get repair, that's easy, anyone can do it, and then they'll be healed, right? But I want to know, after we've done this march, are we going to be healed? We're not going to, so it doesn't work. Stop trying to use non sequiturs to wrap around things that don't go together. Now, this is what a non sequitur is. Check it out. I do my research, you know. I don't just come here and chat out of the 23rd chapter of my imagination, you know. Or I had a big spliff and I come behind the mic. No, I don't do that. Or I had a drink, white rum, or I'm drunk. No, I'm not. I'm quite sober. You haven't had a spliff. So you at least I can say that. You know, most people when they come in here, to talk, and other organisations have to draw a big spliff first, and so you're hearing a ganja chat. I'm sure you don't want any ganja talk. You know, I have to laugh. Years ago, I was going out with somebody and said, you know what? And they sort of encouraged me to smoke ganja because why? They love the ganja love, you know. They love the ganja sex. You see what I'm saying to you? Because I you know, with people, you know, do all of that, and to show you how it's linked to our consciousness, anything. See how we operate as a human being. If you go to the toilet and you smoke while you're on the loo, I can guarantee that when you don't smoke, you can't go to the loo. That's what I noticed when I stopped smoking. You know, I found it difficult in not smoking while I'm on the loo. So if you train your mind, you've got to be very careful what you train your mind to do. I found that I couldn't go to the toilet because if I didn't have a cigarette or a spliff. And it's the same when you're making love. If you have a spliff before you make love and you can't get a spliff before you do that, you're not going to want to make love. Am I wrong? Am I shocking you? But it's true. Because I learned now how the body works and how it's easy to train the mind to accept certain things, right? And if you don't have that, then the body won't respond. It goes into cold turkey. That's why those who try to stop smoking weed, if weed was that good, why are people trying to stop smoking it? And I would recommend that people try and stop smoking it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Of course. That's an ideal position to be in. When you don't smoke weed, you can drink it. You can drink the oil of it. We take out the HTC or something out of it, right? And you won't get the high because that's removed. You know what I mean? And those that advocate the smoking of it, let's say, they should know as well. They ain't being honest with you. They know that when you smoke it, it becomes a deadly oil and it works in reverse for you. It doesn't help you. It mash you up, brethren. I'm telling you. But those Rastaman them all talking about and was signed petition to smoke for us to smoke ganja, right? As opposed to marijuana, and they want to be my intellectual leader. Spit, you're having a laugh. You're having a laugh. Is that what you lot want to be? Listen, you can't just come in here and take me over like that. You're not speaking for me. I mean, if there's any liberation to be had, then it's me too, innit? Then I should have a choice who I want to spearhead the thing here. I should have a choice. I shouldn't be forced to accept Rastaman as the leader because he used to sing about Babylon. That don't make you the leader, brethren. Singing about Babylon and Rastaman, that doesn't make you candidate to spearhead our things. What a cheek! You should put it to the people. I never learnt my liberation thing through Rastaman. I learned it through the Black Power. Ha ha! You remember the power of the Afro and the Angela Davis, even though she was a lesbian, but at the same time, that's where I learned my things from. You see what I mean? Yeah. So I'm saying that to learn, you're going to come to me, man, and ask me first before you decide for me, please. I'm telling you, this is how we should be. Run people from the come just take us over like that. This is what the Back to African Liberation Group does. It takes over. Then they sit and say, hey, you mustn't wear weave, you know. You mustn't wear weave, you know, Virgin. Any guy wear weave. I plant my seed inside of you for 9 months. I thought, what the hell's going on here, Bridget? I couldn't believe that. That DVD I saw on the YouTube, a liberationist, a Back to Africa leader, matriarch, was saying that he plants his seed inside of you. And I said, watch him fierce now. Who wants your seed inside of them? I thought to myself, what are you doing? And the first reaction was me, what? If I was a woman, I would want your seed inside of me, brethren. But I plant my seed for I plant my seed 9 months in you. I know. And you come and poison the environment with your weave. But I said the same thing. I said, listen, but you poison the environment with your ganja. Because you smoke bloody weed. Right? You're just as dangerous then as a weave. You're no better. And you poison other people around you who are smoking that thing all around, brethren. You understand? Just the same way. You're poisoning yourself. You're poisoning other people too. So what's the difference? The woman can't come to you and say, I have your seed inside of me trying to grow and you're there poisoning it with your ganja. She has a right to say that too. But it's kind of male chauvinist to want to come and jump on the women. Have it over the women. Have one over the woman. That's what this liberation back to Africa, diasporan, African historical diasporans are churning out at the moment. And so we want to find out. Come on, don't listen to me. Let's have you. What's your opinion on it? What is the greatest obstacle in the way of black development today? You can give me your opinion on, where are we? On 07404 367618. And I repeat, 07404 367618. You don't let people lead you by the nose, you know, brethren. We're not sheeple, but there are sheeple out there that needs that kind of leadership from know nothing personalities. They need all of that. Traumatized people. You know, we're going to look about our trauma, brethren, and this is what I think we should be doing. Looking about the trauma. And at the same time, trying to live in a society that has certain services that we want, you know what I mean? And education and housing. That's why our children see that we're nowhere near where we should be when it comes down to that. We're not following nothing, brethren. We have nothing to offer our children. No strategy for them to know. We're too busy looking about our crisis in our identity. We're too busy worried about Africa, who's not even worried about us. You know what I mean? This is where these little historical African historical diasporans, right, are stuck in. They're not even going to help us get over our trauma. Do we want to belong to a group like that? They're not even saying that there's going to be an end. So what? Every generation after generation after generation is going to be still known as a bloody slave? I don't understand this logic. Maybe you can help me out here. You know what I mean? This is what we're facing in 2018. So what? 2020 going to be the same thing? So in the 2011 or 2021, 22, 23, 2024? Are we going to be still having this tag as a descendants of a slave? So we're never going to get rid of this thing, are we, really? And I don't want to belong to no group that has no intention of ridding us of this post-traumatic slave syndrome. I want to join a group that has as its aims and purposes to no longer be known as a descendant of a slave. There's nothing we can do about that. So why are these diaspora and these historical diaspora using that against us, brethren, to rally us? No, you can't do that. That's out of order. If I've got a trauma, I'm not going to want to live with it forever, brethren. Come on. You know what I mean? We acknowledge that we're suffering from post-traumatic slave syndrome. We don't acknowledge that. So there's a consensus on that. That we are traumatized. But nobody's offering any closure to our trauma. In fact, they're opening floodgates for it to continue forever. Amen. Ra. That's a madness. That's a daunting thought. And I think the youth can catch on to that. These people have got no intention of moving away from that identification there. And if you look up, worried about what people are looking onto us, you have to, because they will say to you, don't worry about what people is thinking about you. It's what you... What a load of bull. We don't live by ourselves. No man is an island. And the law states the multiplicity has to be taken into view. And if it was really... If they were really wise, those movers and shakers of that kind of a sickening ideology, slavery forever kind of ideology they're talking about, if they were really clever and was really doing something constructive for us, they would try to help us away from this identification of slaves, brethren. But it seems to me that the historical African diaspora has no intention of shedding that image today. Do you want to belong to them? You can if you want, but I definitely going to belong to no group that doesn't want me to free myself from such conditions if I have one, which we know we are suffering from. I don't want to belong to no group that does not have the intention of freeing me from this thing and stop tying me into more. Every time I think about it, I'm a bloody slave. There's a crisis in my identity, brethren. How long are you going to continue to have this crisis? How long? Forever? Come on, man. This is why after 30 odd years of saying that, we are no better off than we were 30 odd years ago, because the movers and shakers of that kind of ideology has no intention of letting you go. Not the white man that got you trapped in, our brethren. The white man realizes he cannot hold you any longer, but the black, those movers and shakers of the permanent incarceration do. They are the ones that are constantly re-enslaving us, you know. Don't you think so? Well, I do, because it's not the white man telling me that I'm a slave. The white man told me that a long time ago, but we managed to overcome that. Now who's telling me that I'm a slave? It's not a white man. They're telling me that I am a child of the kidnapped people. All right, let me see if I can have this call. Okay, call up. Wait. Hello, caller. You there? Hello, caller. 1 minute. Let me see if I can get this up here. What's happening? Hello, caller, you there? Hold on 1 sec. Are you there, caller? Wait, one second, let me get this thing going. Alright. Caller, can you hear me? Hello, caller? No, what's going on with this thing here, man? 1 sec. Can you hear me, caller? Wait. I don't know why this, I don't know. Hello, caller? Hold on 1 sec. Hey there, hello? Hello? I don't even know what's happened to this thing. Okay. You can call back again. I don't know why this thing wasn't working. Wait a minute, 1 sec. Wow. Interesting. Let me see this. Yeah, that's on. Why isn't this thing... some texts are coming through. Why isn't this thing working? Alright, I'll be with you shortly. 1 sec, folks.
TX.
Okay. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you as well. Yeah, so the number is working. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we're live. What?
Sorry. Yeah, we're live. You're live. Yeah.
Well, man, I remember last when I thought you were talking about them opening up what the floodgates of trauma forever.
This is what I'm thinking. It's true,
Yeah,
Bridget.
man. No, man, I hear that, brother. I hear that, and it's a kind of thing what I've been feeling for a long time still, you understand? And each day the spell just gets broken more, and you just see it kind of creates a victim mentality, innit? So,
Yeah, it does.
you know what I'm saying to you, really and truly. So, for real, I get that, and I hear that about joining an organisation that is looking to just be free of all of that. You know what I'm saying to you? Because when you're traumatized, you don't want to stay in trauma forever. You understand?
Is there an end game? See, is there an end game to all this? That's what I want to know. You know what I mean? You know.
Because for real, you know, when you like counselling, you understand what I'm saying to you? This is why then just like take you one little step at a time, or even if you're a driving instructor,
yes,
you understand? It pays.
Well,
you understand? To take the people as slow as possible, to teach them to drive as slow as possible, so that you understand you can earn a living off of it. For real.
Oh, you got it
what
right
I'm
there,
saying to you, people is making a real living off of this traumatization of others.
That's an excellent way to look at it. I didn't look at it that way. You know, you're driving and people they don't want you to drive properly yet. You know, because they ain't making any money. You see what I'm saying?
Well, that's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
You understand? Because it's like the mortgage has got to be booked out by all of these lessons, isn't it? That's what you do. Yes. Then your mortgage is basically based on these lessons, isn't it? So if you can keep a person having 2 or 3 lessons, you understand, a week or whatever, for as long as possible, your mortgage is getting paid, innit? You understand what I'm saying to you? Lord. And that's just how I feel with this slavery thing. Yes. You know, I did have an idea one at a time, then, right? And I'm saying that, boy, like all of them reparations, march and them things there, you understand? Boy, you know what, capitalism, you know, like how them a rent out stall and all kind of things, like business, and I understand that. That's what I'm saying to you.
Did you
understand? One of the ideas that I had, you know, might have been really taken as really disrespectful or controversial. But I'm saying, boy, the way of them people that really want to feel the pain and want to really submerge themselves into the pain of their ancestors. I'm saying to myself, you know what? We forget some chains, you know. And have a little style and I sell some chains, you know.
Oh, man.
You understand?
Come on.
Who I feel them weird and just get that.
Would you do that, though, Brethren? Would you really do that? Would you really do that?
Listen, my brother. When you see the brother who themselves is the descendant of John Hawkins. Yeah. You understand? Yeah. You remember that time and the brother walk around?
Yeah, with chain. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. And black people were celebrating and all of that. You understand? Just the frenzy that it caused. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, but I'm saying, look at that. Yeah, but I'm saying, look at that. I wonder if a black man could have get away with that, to sell some chains. You understand? And then the guy yard, you know, my brother, and they listen to Muta Baruch up on the radio, you know, brother. Just last year, you know, my brother. And Muta Baruch tell people, say, him go to Ghana. And as him come to some gate, I must be the gate of
no return.
No return. One of them place there. Him say him see a man stand up there and sell some chain. And I pick up the chain, and him a feel all heavy. And him say, boy, I saw them chains feel heavy rasta. That my ancestors them I struggle with them chain, you know what a man do?
Oh Lord.
Yo, me nearly split out my starfruit drink. The man said him buy the chain, then you know, my brother.
No.
You understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying, look at that.
But who's enslaving us now? It's not the white man.
No, and I hear that, my brother. You understand what I'm saying to you, right? Though on another level, I'm not saying that people should not know about slavery, You understand?
God.
But the angle,
It's going too far,
my brother.
man. Yeah, because don't forget,
angle of where them deal with this thing you're from, my brother.
it's
You
terrible.
understand? This is why all even the youth they don't even want to hear about it.
no,
Because when
this
they
is-
hear about it,
Yes.
it's like done from a victim's mentality.
Yes, they're not
and
stupid.
they make no connection with how it affects their lives in terms of the media perception and image and all of them things there. Because the story and the narrative has been told by slaves. And it's not even told by slaves, that's on fake.
No, hang on.
People then.
Hang on. It's not being told by Africans. It's told by historical diasporan Africans. The continental African doesn't even business with it, brethren.
And you know something, you make a great point, you know, my brother. You understand? Because enough of the Africans, they don't know about the slavery.
They don't want to know that.
Where we are talking about. You understand? And one of the reasons is they went through their own thing called colonization, my brother.
Aye. You see?
You understand what I'm saying? So you think their business about your thing when they had their thing going on over there?
Yeah.
Enough of the stories ain't even been told about how much of them get wiped out and during the colonization of their lands and all of them kind of
Exactly.
things there.
It's a double whammy.
You understand?
It's like piling one thing upon the other. So we're never ever gonna get over this thing, brethren.
You understand? Imagine you are go to a man, you know. You go to see your brother, you go to see your cousin. But you go with you go from the point of view, say, are you sell me, you know?
Aye. You remember
You
I said?
understand?
Remember I said that one time. When you go back to the land and you find say Unjuku de Panfil, and you find that your ancestral name is Umbwabwe, right? And you find out say Unjuku de Panfil land, brethren. You gonna say, yo, brethren, what you doing on my land? This belongs to this belongs to Unjuku, but you come take it over. So the war gonna start all over again. The civil war. You see?
Listen, dog. But it's happening, though, and it's been happening.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying, yeah? One of the things and one of the keys, then, you understand, to smashing the spell completely in terms of, for me personally. You understand? Because I've always had doubt about certain things. But when we got 2007, you understand, right? And it's almost like I'm not even going to go into what gave me the awakening. But once I went to a certain place, it's like awakening just started to happen immediately. You understand? And part of that awakening was to go and visit the Maroons them myself and sit down with their captains them and reason with them about their history and wagwan and rare.
Yeah, but brethren, I don't cut you. I even hear over the airwaves last week, they're even cussing off the Maroons, brethren. Said they must sell out.
Well, this is the thing about it, right, is that the Maroons then do have a history, you understand, right? And this is the problem, yeah? We get stuck on names, yeah? Right? So I'm not sure if the people then, from them times there, is the same people who they're talking about now. You understand? Because enough of it is enshrouded in myth and all of them things there. You understand what I'm saying to you, my brother? Yeah, the Spanish them call the Maroons them, come from the words cimarron or something like that. You understand? Which means wild.
Yeah, a runaway.
So still have your animal and all of them things the same way. You get me? But towards the end, right? Because according to history, Kodja them a fight 50 years. You understand what I'm saying to you? Now, you know, can you imagine your lifetime where you've been in war with the British, for instance, for 50 years? You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So you're talking about a people then that's worn out and tired of the war thing.
Battle fatigue.
So obviously they're going to be looking for some form of all right, somewhere to done this argument now, some form of treaty or whatever.
Truce.
But the treaty that they got and the treaty that they say and that's been left in history says that right now any other slaves you lot are free, but on a hand back any other people that's looking to join you back to us.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying to you? And that was in the agreement.
Yeah.
So this is how people like Paul Bogle get catch up, call him try to run to the moon then.
Okay. And then
you understand?
and
I feel like him and them could have linked as well. Then they're chopping with machete and handing back to the British.
Oh, yes, sir, brethren.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you. So even when you go to Maroon, when you go to Viz, I haven't been to all of them. You understand what I'm saying to you? But they got the story on the wall where they was basically like helping and aiding the British.
Sell out.
You understand what I'm saying to you?
Sell out.
Then sell out the thing.
Okay.
Not no different to maybe the last Moors then. You understand? Maybe the first Moors then was different from the end Moors then, but the end Moors then who was involved in the selling and the trading of so-called black people then would be considered as sellout. But maybe they didn't start that way. I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
You get what I'm saying to you? Because the thing about groups, you know, you understand, right? And if you want to control, this is the thing. This is how these people live. If you want to control the opposition, then you need to become it, innit?
Of course.
So what you will find is that they will come in, right, and they will infiltrate your organization.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying to you? And then start weakening it from within. You understand? It's just quickly like I think it's the DSM book when it comes to psychology and psychiatry.
Yes.
It's like their biblical book that they go on. In the US is I think it's called the DSM. Yeah, and it had every single medical diagnosis in there in terms of mental illness. And even one time homosexual was in there up until 1973 as a mental illness.
Yes.
So what happened was
that
they got themselves on the board. You understand what I'm saying to you? And when they get themselves on the board now, then they start changing the rules. So by 74, when the book come out, that was no longer in there. So this is what I'm saying.
So let me ask you a question. As toward this liberation struggle, I'm at pains trying to find out where this theatre of war is. The liberation. What are what are we? There's a struggle in it. So I want to know, what are we liberating ourselves from? As according to these back to Africa movements here in the southeast of UK, London, and do you think that the Rastaman, who's claiming to be the intellectual spearhead of this war, this supposed war of liberation, I don't know. What do you think about that? You know, because they say they have the right.
In my opinion, the Back to Africa program is part of the spell of making us believe that those of us who was born in the so-called West, in the Caribbeans and in the Americas, don't belong there. They came there via slave ship. So I think that all of that is a scam. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So for me, it comes from the whole out of Africa, the troglodyte nigger, and origin of the species and all of them kind of things. It all comes from that type of mentality. Got put down into their schools. Black people then got educated by their schools, Carnegie institutions, and all of these places. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So they told you about Africa. Yes, there has been scholars throughout time that have spoken about Africa, but in general consensus, the spell that's been put about, and I don't think that any of those people, some of those people actually spoke as if everybody came from Africa as well. Some of them, you understand, some of them were stuck there, but there's one and two people that spoke about black people all over the planet. You understand what I'm saying?
That's right. Like for instance, they reckon that the slaves that were on the plantation were all from Africa first, but they wasn't. They were from the Iberian Peninsula. Because that black people, as I say, migrated over the world and they lived in the Iberian Peninsula. So they went down there and took them first. So you can't say they come from Africa, because if you say that, then the whole human race comes from Africa.
The thing about it, is that before you had what they call the continental drift.
That's right.
Black people was everywhere.
That's right.
You understand what I'm saying to you? They didn't call that place that one place where they was at Africa.
That's right.
You understand? That's a relatively new name.
That's right.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah? So we would be what you call planetarians. Wherever we was at was where we was at. The planet was one at one time.
Yeah.
You understand? So when the continents then started to drift, wherever we was where we was.
That's where we came from. That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you.
It's not
so
rocket
now
science.
they decide to call that one piece.
That little piece what left.
Over there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That little piece, brethren.
Yeah, them call this one piece. I say, yeah, everybody come from this. Well, the whole world come from this.
Exactly. So we see. So what would you say about the Rastaman being the intellectual spearhead of this supposed imaginary war that we're in? You know.
What I think is that on a certain level, there's always got to be, just like, for me, it always goes back to, you want to become the opposition. If you want to control the opposition, then you need to become it. You understand? Because there's no doubt that even though the man them started off with Marcus, you understand, there was a change of plan somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? By the time the man then Leonard Owl and the man they got back to Jamaica, there was a change of plan.
Yeah.
You understand? It wasn't about Barbarism. It was about Rastafarianism. It was about Selassie.
Oh yes.
Once the crowning of the king in the east, which was basically apparently mentioned by Marcus.
That's
right. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like the man then basically went on that mission.
Different
you
mission.
understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. And then from that mission there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
really and truly, that's where they spread.
That's where.
But once again, I don't know the original Mandem's intention, but the infiltration that's happened now, today, 2018, you can't tell all is all.
Exactly.
My brother.
You can't. Confuse. That's what I said. It's the mixing and the blending and the mudding of the waters that we're exposed to as a group. That's why I asked you the question again. The last question is, what do you think is the most greatest impediment that we as a community are facing today?
As a community?
Yes.
Wow.
As a collective. As a collective,
I don't know what the greatest is. Yeah, what I do think, is that when you understand, and I'm going to go back to Marcus on this one, when you understand that the Boule was set up, you understand, to stop man like Marcus. You understand the WEV, the boys, and all of that crew there.
Yeah.
You understand? When you understand that program there was set up, to stop Marcus and his plan on the unification of and I find it interesting that he called his organization Universal Negro Improvement Association.
Negro,
I find that ever so fascinating.
Universal Negro.
I find that ever so fascinating. Like, why did you call them that? Yeah, what I'm saying to you, my brother. Yeah. But when you understand, there was a time when they had a changing of the law where they changed people's identities in the U.S. You know, and the law fits me at the moment that this is where they change people's nationalities. And that's what I'm saying to you, from one thing to another. You know, there was people that was fighting down the word Negro, then you had a new lot of people that was proud to be Negro, like Jack Johnson. Then they called themselves the New Negro. You understand? So I find it very fascinating and interesting that a man like Marcos, educated as he was, would call his organization the Universal Negro Improvement Association.
Okay,
you understand?
Yeah. So lastly, before you go, I just wanted to say, then, just give your opinion then, what you think is the greatest impediment that faces us, or problem that.
No, what I'm saying, what I'm saying, I want to get back to the Boule.
Oh yeah, yes, go on, yes.
Yeah, the Boule is the people then that fought down Marcus. Marcus was encouraging people to think for themselves and to unify. You understand? The Boule was about doing all kinds of things, straightening your hair, NAACP, all kinds of stuff they did. And when you look at the actions of the Boules, right? I mean, there's a YouTube videos, right?
I just spell. I just spell that.
You can see like Boule.
How you spell
You
that?
can see like Boules. They're in the colleges. Listen to me. They're in the colleges. They're their own fraternities. They named themselves, right? The Boule is after the Skull and Bones Society. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? Which enough of the presidents in America is inducted in Yale University and all of them kind of things there. The Boule decided that they wanted to be a Greek version or a black version, but they attribute their thing to Greek. You understand? So when you see, like I say, you can study the thing online and see the Boule then, majority of the black people then, in terms of who's up there, you understand, and in certain positions, in terms of TV and them kind of things there, some of our greatest idols then have been Boule. They've been doing rituals in front of your face. You understand? So when you see them in 2018 now, these Boules, and they're successful black people, but you see them, they're busting their signs, you know, they freeze their devil horns, they're doing homosexual rituals, they're doing dances. When you come out and you see a person do a certain dance before they start their show, and then a Boule initiation and ritual, they're performing right in front of your face. You understand? So it begs the question, you understand, that do we have Boule in this country? Because the Boule, right, is the people then that keep the so-called racism going. You understand, the Black Lives Matters and all them kind of things, the Al Sharptons and all of those kind of things. They're the ones that actually help to keep the victim mentality. You understand? So when you're looking to be free, my brother, you understand, and be mentally free, and you want to, and you know, the sky is the limit, and beyond the sky, and all of those kind of things there. You understand? Because you can't stop the thinking.
But hold on 1 sec. So that kind of what you just said there gave me a shock, because it's like what I'm seeing happening with the Back to Africa movement. They want to keep this thing alive, brethren. Remember, you keep it alive. I wonder if they're part of the Boule too.
Well, this is what I'm saying, and some people are in things they don't even know what they're in, my brother.
Serious thing, brethren.
You understand? It will be like a man making a video, you know. It's like a man making a video, you know. And a person would say, yeah, man, that star there's in the so-called Illuminati or whatever it is that people want to call it, yeah? But they don't even understand with the green screen and all kinds of things. They could just have a person in a room, and the room just blank, and they just paint everything around. So they paint at the symbols them on the floor and certain symbols in, and the artist don't even know that that's what's going on in his video until he sees it. You understand? And he or she might not be happy with it, but when the numbers start popping and everything, what are they going to say? They're not going to say nothing.
They're saying that.
And to me, this is exactly how the Back to Africa program is been on. Look, man, now you're seeing them talking about the pyramid, yeah? And this is why I think that even my concept of the whole Egypt thing changed and everything. Because I think that Egypt was like the start of the so-called New World Order in terms of trying to contain and control and all of them kind of things. That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, man.
And this is why they use certain symbols like the pyramids and to this day. When you look at it, Rastaman's been busting the pyramid symbol from how long ago? So that's like busting the pyramid symbol from how long ago? So when it get upgrade now to Jay-Z time, and Jay-Z and Beyonce and other people can turn the pyramid upside down, turn the pyramid right way up now, and put it over an eye now, well, that's I say. You get what I'm saying to you, my brother? Yeah. So for me, it's just been things that's been in our face from
but let me say
longest time.
But let me say this. Yeah, let me say this. I was reflecting back on the last organisation I was in, and obviously when I came out the front door, I saw this symbol, and I was wondering what this symbol is. I'm going to try to remember and go back to it, because what you're saying about the we call it the Boule. How do you spell that? B-U-L-A-Y.
B-U-B-O-U-L-E. Listen, man, I think one of the first people to really talk about the Boule was a brother named Steve Coakley. Well, what them do with Steve Coakley, and at the end I see him live. Where he took a one picture, and I have not heard nobody talk about it on the radio. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
But Steve Coakley makes sure them take a one picture of him in his hospital bed.
What?
You understand what I'm saying to you, my brother? Yeah? right? And Steve Coakley is like they give him something for just liquidize the whole of his inside and just mash him up. You understand? And kill off that brother. I've not heard no tribute, nothing about Steve Coakley. Steve Coakley was the one that helped to get Martin Luther King's family the judgment that they got, that the government was complicit in Martin Luther King's death.
Right, that's Steve Oak. Steve, you say Steve Oak?
Coakley.
O-A-K-L-E.
Coakley.
Yeah, Oakley.
Steve Coakley, yeah, Cokeley. Yeah, and he was a brother.
Sorry. Hold on, I need to write it down because it's going a bit far. C-O...
C-O-K-E. Yeah.
Okay.
L-Y.
Oh, Coakley. Steve. Okay, got that. Sweet.
Steve Coakley.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
You understand? Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
If I'll even do a thing where, like, 30 years later, and do an interview and find a piece of information where, like 30 years later, the man is talking about whoever was there at the when Martin Luther King get killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? They was talking to, must be 30 years anniversary of his death, that the man was standing and talking, a big crowd of people.
Really?
You understand? And I'm not sure if the brother's name is Bales or Biles, you know what I mean? I'm just off top of my head, you understand? But you can find that out there on YouTube, where the brother was telling you that he stood, and Martin Luther King was standing next to him, and how he moved away from Martin Luther King so that the brother could get a clear shot.
Oh, no.
You understand what I'm saying to you? And the brother said it in front of a crowd of people, my brother. You understand? And nothing. These men then go to their grave and they're heroes, or they're still heroes to the people then. You understand what I'm saying to you? So, there's information online as well, where they're even saying nobody didn't know who Martin Luther King was until he got invited to a Boule meeting. And by the time he went to the Boule meeting and he gave a speech at the Boule meeting, the next day everybody knew about him.
Interesting.
So that's what I'm saying to you, brother. So what I'm saying, and this is part of the thing, is that the information that we're receiving, because they don't want, it's all about group thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not about individual thinking.
That's right.
Do you understand? So what they do is if you think a certain way, innit, you understand, then you're like outside the group, innit, you understand? But they like people who think a certain way and they're just looking to you understand? Because the group thinking will just surround you. And then for you to just get along, because ignorance is bliss sometimes, innit? You just fall in. And that's the whole idea. So if they just do what they're doing, use up your energy and just go on, innit? Move up. Type of thing, you understand what I'm saying to you?
For real.
Yeah? So, for me, is that a lot of the so-called educators, it's like what they're teaching, it's like where's the information coming from, you understand? Is it coming from Jack and Jill Secret Society or Blue Vein Society? Is it coming from these areas?
Okay.
You understand, or is it coming from a place? Is it coming from a place where a person who's been inducted into the Order of Garter, the Order of the Garter, from 1947?
Order of the Garter.
You understand? The only black man that's in the Order of Garter, and that's something will go back to King, so-called King John Deere's Malta. Society, Cross of Malta Society come from it, St. John's Society come from it, what do you call it, the Crusaders come from it. You understand what I'm saying to you? So when you look and see that Selassie is in there and he's been inducted in there from 1947, you have to really wonder.
Hola, what you said a while ago? What do you say?
I said when you look and you see that Selassie has been inducted into this order from 1947, you understand what I'm saying? Then you have to really understand and look and see Wagwan. You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. One of the questions that I would like to know, and that's right, even when I went to Yard, my intention was to find out, you know, and speak to some not emotional Rasta man them, some intelligent Rasta man them. You understand?
Yeah, for real,
Yeah?
for real.
For find out exactly why Selassie I did go to Jamaica.
Yeah, that's, you know what. That's what I recently just decided. Why did he go Jamaica? That's what I said. A little place like Jamaica.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
Must be a reason.
Because, right, you see, one of the things then, yeah, for me, I don't know who make the world them know about Africa more than Jamaicans, bro.
That's right.
To be quite honest. You understand? From Marcus down to Bob.
Let's get this right. They may have made people know about the landmass, the piece of landmass, but never about blackness, though. They weren't it first.
You've got to remember, you know,
the Black Power movement, the Black Angela Davis, and
No, I tell you what, right? For me, yeah, it got deeper than the surface. Listen, one of the best music will come out of the world, come out of Jamaica, them called reggae music, you know, around the time or after Selassie I come out Jamaica, you know. And if you check the message, what has been embedded into reggae music from them times and even to now times, bro.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah? Who let the world know about Africa more than the man, than the artists, them and them thing, them, brother?
But is that a big deal though?
And freedom and black man.
But is that a big deal though? Why is it? It's not a big deal.
If it's a program and it's a spell, you understand? But if our most prominent speakers, yeah, can ignore the land of where their forefathers come from, which is I'm speaking about where the Rastaman them come from, a place like Jamaica. You understand? Once you start thinking that this is not your home, you know, some other place is your home.
Yeah, but the home, but the people. All right, so I think about Africa as my home. They ain't looking at me as my home. That home ain't looking at me as a home, brethren. You know what? Hold on. One sec. Yeah, but if I begin to don't feel like this is my home, like Jamaica is not my home, then yeah, and I begin to feel like Africa is my home, and the people in my home not even looking at me as a member of that home, brethren.
Yeah, but for some people, they have to go there to realize that.
Why?
I'm just talking about, listen, what I'm talking about is a step before that. It's, if you like, the kick before that. Because so a man thinks, yeah, a lot of the times he becomes that, yeah? So if you think that this place is not your home, then you're not going to treat it like home. You're not going to do nothing to it.
That's a mistake.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying to you.
Right.
Yeah, you're not going to be looking to be fixing up. No,
you're not interested. You're not interested.
You're looking out.
Right.
You're looking out.
That's my point.
You
Exactly.
understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah. So my point is this. Yeah. If you're not going to be fixing up home, my brother, then who's going to be fixing up home? And if your most prominent speakers, then you understand the voices of Jamaica, for instance, as an example, voices of America that want to be telling you that, this is not our land. We came here as slaves. So you automatically start thinking, it's true, you know, this ain't my place. You understand what I'm saying? You start looking for outside.
Is that good or bad?
And I think that's a very bad thing.
Ah, exactly. Yeah. So I know where you're coming from now, brethren.
Yeah,
exactly. So you're giving a reason. Yes. Right.
I think that has been a big problem, a major problem.
So that's a major problem that you see facing us today, right?
Yeah, man. Is that we've got no sense of belonging because they're trying to give us Darwinism.
Yes,
you understand what I'm saying to you?
For real.
Yeah? And it doesn't even matter, right? Like, for instance, right? And there's a lot of times where we can help ourselves, my brother. You understand what I'm saying? There's a lot of times.
For real. Yeah? We're just refused.
Man, look with all even the Windrush situation there,
yeah?
Right? The Windrush situation, right? Look at that, right? Our people was the people then that was being deported. You had a service that come on Genesis Radio, that Genesis brought on. You understand? Some guys was doing, some man them was doing, where they was helping people with their immigration status.
Okay.
Right here. They wasn't even using immigration. They was using Commonwealth.
Okay, right.
They was using the national Bush, Jamaica national what do you call it? The first one, its name just gone from me, but the first one that they used when Jamaica so-called got its independence, as an example.
Okay.
They was using those at Jamaica National Act.
Okay.
They was using these things. You understand? They had a different thinking, and guess what? Enough people, right, was using the system, you understand, and they was getting away.
Aye.
Slipping through.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
So here they have now, right, because at that time, you never heard that people were under threat of deportation, but they was deporting people, dipping people. You understand what I'm saying to you? When they put people in a detention camp is like a prison.
Yeah.
It's a prison.
You know, I've
just called a detention camp.
That's right. But you're locked up.
Same way they got the screws them the same way in these places. So automatically you could be a law-abiding citizen, but because you're, well, some people would consider that if you're here illegally, you're not a law-abiding citizen, because that's what the law means to certain people. But for other people then, who just come here to come and work, keep their head down and just contribute and do whatever it is that they're doing and trying to be the best that they can be, but they're here illegally. You understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Them get caught up. Next minute, they're in one of these detention centres. Them, you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Automatically getting treated like a criminal.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Them did have a leaflet, you know, my brother, right? And it was talking about going back home. I think it was called Coming Home. The leaflet. It was put out by the Home Office.
Really?
It was supposed to be helping you to come, like if you wanted to come back home.
Go back home.
To Jamaica. Yeah, like come back home, coming back home or something like that it was called, yeah? And when you read it, it's not about coming back home. It's about if you're deported, bro. You understand? Yeah? So this was done a few years ago. And this was the advice. And one of the advice that they was telling you is don't go out after dark. Be careful of who you talk to, and speak Jamaican. That was their safety advice that they gave to people. You understand? None of that. I can't see none of that information for the rest of the island. You understand what I'm saying to you? In the Caribbean, for instance, coming home, it's like it's just Jamaica.
Yeah.
Had that leaflet.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying to you? So this is a thing that's been going on for a little while. So now that, if you like, that people are aware of this situation, number one, they beat down anybody else outside Genesis, beat down the service. Yeah, that was being offered, and it was in Croydon. Everybody outside Genesis beat down that service. Yeah.
Okay.
They had people, so-called experts, immigration people, on these stations, rubbishing off that service. But yet, a thing like Windrush can happen under their watch. They didn't say one word, my brother.
Yeah.
And how long has it been going? The only way it busts, you know, my brother, is a white man basically heard about this black man that's been working for how long in the system. And now he's got prostate cancer. You understand?
Yeah.
And he could normally get on the NHS, but they might question it in immigration status. And the white man said, no, he's not having it.
Okay.
You understand? And was the one that highlighted it in the papers then and certain places, bring it up in the Commons. Next minute, it blow up. Well, there was other people then. And I saw the Windrush thing blow up, but it's a thing that they knew, and they've been deporting people around them before. That whole situation. And then what happens? You get a Home Secretary that all of a sudden, the Home Secretary is one whose parents was one of the prospects then, or the kind of prospects that was facing deportation. They come in 66. So you see, this is what happens, right? We do the clearing, you understand, the killing if you like, you understand, because they use us to get rid of, they use a situation with somebody else, not the Prime Minister, but somebody else, because it fell on her watch. Then you find out, say, Labour was the one who put the thing in a plan. Labour, who's always been there for so-called black people, then for how long? You understand? When every time election come round, you get suspected boule, Operation Black Vote, then come round. You understand what I'm saying to you? Right? And I tell you, say, yeah, man, vote, and I push you towards and I direct you to all the place like Labour. But Labour is the one, then, you understand, who signed the order in the first place and set the thing in a motion.
All right. You know what, caller?
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I want to thank you for your interjection. Very wide knowledge there. Right. Enough respect for that, yes.
Yeah, right.
And,
no problem. But the floodgates of opening up the floodgates of trauma. Yeah, man, I like that one. That was funny. For real.
Nice one. Enough respect. That's
all right, no better.
Bless up all the time. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah. Right, there you are. You're in tune to Genesis Radio and the People's Talkshow. Just warming up the session there for you. You had all the time to ring, but you didn't do it. And someone rang and then was ready to express himself. So I allowed that for a while to get you prepared. The numbers are for you to interact are 07404367618. And I repeat, 07404367618. We'll bring you into the studios, and you can also text in on 07931 27 62 and the 32. And I repeat, 07931 27 62 and the 32. You text in on that number only. So, you know, and there was a caller there was giving his expression very well, well articulated, I think, and gave me some food for thought about the boule and their agenda to keep us focused and keep us this tradition live in our consciousness. Okay, you're live on Genesis. Hello, caller. One sec. Where can I? No, could you call in on you're calling on the wrong number. Let me give you the number to call in on, yeah? Hold on, one sec. Let me give you the number to call in. You call on, this is the text line. You got a pen? You got a pen, yeah? 07404. You got that? 336 7618. You got that? Hello? Oh, cut off. Sorry there, caller. Let me give out the number again. The numbers are to call in is as 07404 36 7618, and I repeat 07404 36 7618. We'll bring you into the studios, and please, you can only text in on the 07931 27 62 and the 32 number. We don't take calls on that number at the moment, so it's only texts. And let me read a few of the texts because people take time in texting. So let me read a few texts here now while I've got the time. Oh, right. There's a lot of hum. Oops, come here. Coming through. Okay, thank you for that. 801. A lot of hum coming through. Turn down the gain. Okay, and increase the level, or you might have a bad lead on the mic. Right. I hope that is solved. I hope there's no more hum coming through. Thank you for that. 801. Could you give me a feedback on that? How are you receiving us now? 801. Thank you very much. Let me see here. Text Sander says, Dr. X not coming today. Oh, never mind. No, he's coming in. You should know when he's coming. You're a great fan of him. You should know. Did you manage to watch the Black Panther movie? If so, what is your opinion on it? I haven't watched the Black Panther movie yet. But I haven't had a chance to watch that. I'm not really in a hurry to watch that, to be honest with you. But I will at some point. Thank you for that. 930. Text sender 753 says, greetings. It's 2018 and Genesis Radio still not sounding good. Spend the money and fix up the setup. It sounds SHIT. So I hope management got that. Yeah, it's true. I can handle that. I can take that criticism. We should be 2018 and we sounded like we're back in the day, right? Like a dinosaur. Thank you for that text sender 753. And we note your criticism, your constructive criticism. Thank you. Text sender. Yeah, that's about the hum. Interesting. I hope that's how. That's the lot. I do believe. Okay. Yeah. So again, the numbers are for a live link is 07404. Oops.
Heru?
Yes, you're live.
Hello?
Hiya, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, I can. Hold on, one sec.
Hello?
No, I can't. One sec, caller. Can you
I can't hear.
Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. I can't hear you though. I just talk.
Can you hear me now?
I can't hear you too. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay, fire.
Well, all I'm trying to say is that last text, the last text you read was a lie. You are sounding perfect. We're listening to you since the show started. There's no hissing, no disturbances, no humming, no nothing. All that was is that the caller's a little bit loud, but not to be nothing disturbingly loud.
Okay.
That calls a liar. You're sounding perfectly clear, no hissing, no humming, nothing whatsoever.
Okay.
So them saying you said SHIT must be a personal stab against you for something you said that they've been ashamed to confront you directly about.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to the factory business.
Okay, nice one. Thank you for
that. So don't tell them that's a lie. You say it's perfect. Your manager don't have to fix up nothing. You say it's completely perfect.
Nice one, G. Thank you, G. How you doing, G?
Yeah, big up anyway, yeah?
Enough respect, G. Enough respect. Bless
big up, man.
Bless up. Okay, caller, one sec. Okay, caller, could you call back? 670, call back. What's that? Come on, stop that. Yeah, last caller, could you call back? 670, is that 670? Sorry about that, I was in the middle of this other call. Right, let's see, right on. Okay, caller, you're live on Genesis. Greetings.
Hello.
You're live on Genesis.
Okay. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, man. No,
and so I'm going to do the world a favour, at least in this part of the hemisphere. You're going to learn something, and you can question it, and you can say, "Oh, I didn't know that," and what a scandal. Just listen. Just listen. It's about time the people with the power, the little people, the you and the I's, actually start to take things for what they are and not what we believe them to be. And I'm leading to this because I'm trying to take on the system, if you will, on a small point. It's about justice and fairness. Now, I'm going to say to you that there are many people of all colours in this country who are being disrespected by the Department of Works and Pensions. Literally being disrespected, stressed out. They're not well. And if you were to Google people who have died under the stress and the bullying that's going on with the DWP, and whether, they've got a thing called a work capability assessment, and they will send you to these work capability assessments, and what they do, even though you are poorly, for want of better words, they will sign you off and say you're fit for work. So I'm going to do an exercise with you, and everybody else can join in, and you'll know a champion when you hear one.
Hold on,
right?
Stop there. Can I just stop you there a minute? You realise that this has got nothing to do with the topic that's at hand at the moment. Do you realise that, do you?
Well, yes, I do, but not really. You're educating, and it's about bringing the knowledge to enlighten people about a problem and problem solving, if there is anybody that can do it. I got something that's going to trump your question and problem. Well, I said, just listen, watch what I do with you everybody else.
Oh, I must allow, hold on. So I must allow you to just, hold on, hang on a minute, one minute. So I must allow you to just toddle, mosey on in on the subject and change it according to your great intellectual prowess. And I should just back off and allow you to do that, right? Is that what you're saying?
Let's take a walk on the wild side.
No, we ain't taking no walk on no wild side, brethren. Please.
Wow.
If I'm going to allow you, I'll do it. Yes.
I've got something.
And it's not. Yeah. But what you should have done is call me offline and say, "Can I?"
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
I'm here now.
That's not a point.
Listen to the
I'm not listening.
To give you
And
everybody.
You know what I'm going to say to you, Reese? You must have some manners and some etiquette, brethren. Have some manners. Stop. Listen, no, you can't. Listen, you can't bull. No, hang on a minute. No, listen what I'm trying. No, are you for listening now, brethren? Are you for listening now, brethren? Don't just, don't just bulldoze your way in like that. We've had this argument so many times. Don't just think you can just come and bulldoze your way and just put everything else out. It's not going to work, brethren.
Okay.
You got to ask, ask me.
Can I start with my apologies and continue and start doing some kissing feet? I'll do all of that. I'll do anything you want.
No.
I'll do anything you want.
We're not asking you to do. We're not asking.
What do you want me to do?
We're not asking you to do that. All we're asking you to do is before you come on. This is where the problem is. Don't just think.
God, I'll make it up to
don't
you.
just
I
think.
swear to God, I'll make it up to you. I swear to God.
All right. I'll let you go this time. Okay, go ahead. Fine. I'll let you go. As long as you acknowledge that. Go on.
I'll give you all the kisses. I'll even.
No, don't kiss nobody, brethren. Careful.
Whatever you like.
Don't.
An ounce of weed, whatever you like.
That's
Listen to what I'm saying.
Okay, fine. Go ahead. I'll allow it this time.
We'll see, right?
Go on.
Okay. Now you threw me off, so let me try and see if I can get with my trailer port to land the giant in the room that everybody's ignoring. Now, I was saying, as people, individuals, I think the caller before was talking about his collective thought, his mind stuff, and I'm like, I agree with him. I've been out on the outside, on the rim for the longest time and being disrespected. I think we just got an example. My point is this. We have the Department of Works and Pensions. I'm going to ask you a question, and everybody's going to listen, and everybody's going to do the same as you do. Do you have a watch?
Yeah, I got a clock, on my phone.
But do you wear a watch?
No, I don't wear a watch now.
Okay. You've got a clock on your phone.
That's right.
Look at your clock, please.
Yeah. And?
Is it working?
Yep.
It's working?
Yep.
Is it employed?
Sorry, is what employed? Am I what? No, it's not employed because it's not employed.
No.
Right. I lie. It is employed. It is employed. It is employed. It's employed. It's employed to tell me that. Yes, when I fixed it, set it up, it was employed to tell me the bloody time, and it's exactly what it's doing, brethren.
Hold on, that's what the DWP and this is. I'm trying to. When I said collective thought, and the brother was talking about collective thought, but it's about time you stop thinking Labour like you, because Labour don't like you. In 2001, under your blessed Labour Party, they called New Labour because they got rid of Clause 4, right, which was Tory hardcore actually. It's not
You don't have a Labour government, a party of the people. And I'm going to prove it right now. I'm going to show you some things you never, ever, ever once thought of in your life, right? Because I can't get a solicitor to fight my case. So I thought I'd go social media, I'll go live with it. You know what I mean? The government, the Labour government, who's supposed to be your friend, right? They changed the Department of Education, Employment and Education to the Department of Works and Pensions. Knowing full well that they've had a good time, the whole tranche of like 30, 40 years, dumbing down people, that they will not realise that work is not employment. And their business is about employment. Work is not employment. Old Joe has got an allotment. He works on that. Marge, she got a couple kids on the Sink estate. She working cleaning up, doing housework. Students, they got assignments to do, and they work bloody hard at it too to get to the grade. It's a nebulous term. And to prove my point, they do not pay you work and support allowance. Because if they did, Joe would become calling and say, well, I've been working on my allotment. Mark will be saying, well, I've been working in my house, sweeping up, where's my money? Everybody and their dog will say, come give me the money. You're giving money for work. Your clock work, your watch work. That is not employment. Employment is a contract, an agreement between two parties, which says, I will work in your place, I will do some, and even still, even if I say agree to that employment contract, where it's 8 hours a day, and you give me holidays and all that stuff, there's no guarantee, and it's not the government's business how much work you put in, whether you're a skiver or not. So by using the term Department of Works and Pensions and spending money, making it look snazzy and slick and open plan, it just bulldozes everybody into believing work is employment. They are cheating us, and I've written to the tribunals. I said, any one of you judges, after this point, when I told you what it is, because you like to use the clauses to say, well, I'm signing you up or I'm keeping you on, and you're doing all your clauses, you know words. You understand the meaning of words and clauses and second clauses and subsections. I've told you. Misfeasance, nonfeasance, malfeasance, fraud, every one of you. From this moment, and I can't tell you the date, and I can't read the paper that. It's very difficult to get something new to people that are old head and don't understand where we can go with media and education. The point is, the Department of Works and Pensions is a fraud. They're not interested in whether you work. It's a con. It's about employment. It's always been. Go to the history of the Department of Employment.
Oh, Reese, is that do you think that's the biggest impediment right now facing this?
Whoa, there's too much noise going on there. What's going on? You've got Christmas tree going on what?
One sec. Do you think that the working, as you're talking about the work and pensions department, do you think that's the biggest problem we face here in the community today, as a group?
Yes, it's one of them. Anything that opens the mind to see a different way of looking at something that solves the problem and realizes how much we've been conned. Anybody who can show you that. Anybody who can show you that can show you something else. You just know how difficult it is in our conversation to get you to that point to realize work is not employment. How difficult was it? You was going to cut me off. You was going to cut me off. The great you was going to cut me off. So if I can do that on that issue, imagine how many other things I can do. I just have to choose that one to open your mind up to realize when you listen to... I heard somebody talk last week about, or the other week, somebody, I don't need to be educated. They've got an attitude. If you step on somebody's foot and do it hard and do it again, do you expect them to say, excuse me, old chap, take your foot off my foot. It wasn't part of the carpet. Or do you expect to get a right hand cross because you're disrespectful? If you poke a lion in the face, you think it's going to be nice. If you disrespect somebody who puts the work in and you disrespect at the very beginning, Do you think it's going to be nice to you? Does that mean I can't educate? Does that mean I don't do the work? Let's just get back to the point, right? That idiot, they are teeth anyway. I'm saying, open our minds. We need better educators. We need to use media better, and we need to have good phone lines. And I don't want to ever hear, at any time I tune into Galaxy, hold on, I don't know what's going on. The lines were there. 30 years in the business, and you ain't got a proper line. I don't want to hear that.
Yep. Okay.
I don't want to hear that at all. So I'm saying, work is not employment. They do not pay you work and support allowance for a goddamn good reason. And that undoes them. And we need to have a campaign to get our billions back and sue the fuckers. And it's your Labour government.
Yeah, pardon the French. Okay, well, I understand. You know what, Reece?
They weren't the Tories, Richard.
Yeah, I understand.
Stop making these slave masters act like they like you. They don't.
That's right. You know what? That's a good campaign for us to have. And you should make sure that you bring this to the fore all the time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying to you.
It's gonna come. Don't worry.
You should start
it's
it.
In the works, Richard.
Yeah, we're
that's
gonna.
Just one.
Yeah,
that's
man.
one of the fork.
Yeah.
One of the fork toot. But I need people to understand.
Yeah.
If you eat it out, and nobody else with all the intelligence coming on saying we're having a chat, they ain't looking at the situation and says, "Oh shit."
Okay.
And you told us about how the circular reasoning goes from and the same old 30-year business. And then looking at real issue that does affect everybody, and still unites them too.
That's right.
All people are suffering under the boot heel, hot nail boot of the you-know-who. We've got to have some teeth. We need to have some teeth.
But you remember...
A guy going around without no teeth. Hey,
yeah.
We need the plantation, man.
That's right. Hold on, Reece. But the other day they were saying that it's a failure anyway. We call it this UC credit thing. They admitted that it's making people worse, brethren, than helping them. It's not actually helping nobody. So
what's that?
The UC, the universal credit they were talking about last week, that it's actually making people's lives worse, brethren, and people are suffering on a wide scale. So you probably got a point there. If you can champion that, I'll definitely back you, brethren. If you can do as you say, because it affects the community. That's why I asked the question today: what do you think affects? What is the most impediment, the greatest impediment for us as a group? And I think it covers all groups, not just black groups. You understand? It covers everybody in the...
There is a mass of people who have been suffering traumatic. And I've studied this very acutely. So I kind of know where I'm going with it, and I know what it's about, and I can do some wondrous things right in front of your face. I don't know you personally, I ain't seen you, so I can't, whatever. I understand human beings.
That's right.
I understand human beings by virtue of studying history and doing a lot of reading of history. I am not biased. I just don't read black books. I read books that pertain to what happened, and how it turned out, and how some people have changed it and coloured it this way and coloured it that way. And I said, well, I'm a social detective. I don't care. I look into the history of the writer. I find out what political persuasion they're of. I look into whether they believe in a God or not. You write and stuff, you're influencing, you're a public intellectual. I want to know who you are. And from I know who you are, I read the work and I define for myself, you're about A or B. And once I understand A or B and the influences A or B have, you are lucky people to hear somebody that is not being paid by anybody to do the work for everybody. So when I tell you one thing, just one thing, I can go on with different things. I'm not trying to stoke racial. It's not racial. Those who do, I'm sorry for them. They're going to meet their Waterloo one of them days because it's easy for me to destroy you. Those who put the feminism, you know and I know, they are cowards and they won't face me. And those who say it's white supremacy, again, you know, and I know.
Well, here what now, Reece? I'm going to say I did fulfill my promises. I said we're going to have a one day put aside for politics, really, for people like yourself.
No problem. I'll tell you what, I'll leave now. And anybody who thinks I'm talking rubbish, or I didn't explain myself clear enough, or I haven't thought it through, by all means, keep calling. Let's opprobrium. Make ask your sensible questions or your request or whatever, this is something I'm putting down. So it's not something I haven't thought through. This is something that sinks governments.
Yeah.
This is something that sues governments for doing that scam on the people in the first place, because they thought 40 years of dumbing down was sufficient enough for people to think work equates to employment.
Yeah, and this runs across all genre, and not just black. I mean, I'm a bit tired of this black only, black that, black this, black that. But when we're all human beings,
you're not black. Look at your colour. You're not black.
Well,
I don't buy that.
Well, what? That's another thing. But
you didn't. Just like the flag. You didn't design that. You didn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna call myself black." Somebody else designed that for you.
That's another
argument.
argument.
Because somebody else popularized it, it don't mean say it's true.
We can have that argument another time, because whether I disagree, but let's mark that down in your book.
Listen, it's about time we put them on the run. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And we've got things that we can put them on the run.
Okay.
We've got to think, understand, and make the movement from that point.
Right on. And I'm with you on that.
All right.
And I look forward to interaction. Thank you very much, Reese, for that interjection. Enough respect. There you are. The one first caller expressed the idea that we are been plagued by this baul or secret societies that are the underhand, and some of them are even masquerading as liberation groups, and that's maybe one of the greatest impediment that faces us today, the infiltration of these groups that deliberately stirring up this thing. You're live on Genesis.
Oh, hello, Heru.
How you doing? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Hiya. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fire.
Well, I'm Burchak, and been recording the show, and I like Reese, what he's come up with, and I'm also saying that this could especially be effective for your, especially for your community. Now, have you heard about the link tag? And this is what the caller before Reese said, collective thought and everything. Now, has any one of you heard of the link tax?
I just spell that. Are you spelling link or links?
L.
Yeah.
For limb.
Yeah.
I.
Yep.
N.
Yep.
K.
Oh, limb.
Space. Yep.
Yeah.
Tax.
Okay. I got that down.
Yes. Now, when you look at it, this bill is now set for. It was going to be set last year, but they postponed it because many people are rebelling against it. So now they want to put it back to 20th of June. That's going to be the date that they might vote or they might not. Now, I have spoken out on part of this. Now, this is a bill that they want to produce, not just to be against copyright infringement before, but basically, if you have a news article that you're going to lead to another news article, which is truth. For example, you hear someone beat, an authority figure. You see that boy that was restrained, the black boy that was restrained very hard, I think, was it in the mental institution. They couldn't control him, so they had to call the police in. And they restrained him down, and the police, the bad apple in the police, because not all police are bad, not all police are good, but there are a lot of the bad apple in them as well as the good apple in them, you know. And I meet the good apple of the police, you know, and nice people. They're very nice people. They understand, but they're not allowed to participate in these political things. And I remember a police officer phoned up Genesis and talked white police. She sounded nice. But anyway, I'm going on to this link tax thing. Now, this link tax, basically, he was to put a news article there or a film about what the police in America did to a boy. And the truth, they will force Google or any search engine around the world, to remove that Otherwise, they will fine that search engine or sue them and tax them for it, which also includes basically draconian laws. In basically, if I was to record now, I put these shows on YouTube. They could ask YouTube, Google, and all that to remove these shows that link, because you're telling the other side of the story, whereas mainstream shows, they don't cover the things that's covered here in Genesis. And what, especially information that Reese has given out, or information that other callers have given out, and I can name you many of the callers. Yeah, obviously, right now, and then they will then force another bill. If they put draconian laws in, I know copyright isn't right. For example, ripping off somebody else's song, it's not right. But these are the people that I'm talking about. All these are the people that had started in the first place, the internet, when they started piracy. But I'm not going to go into that. What I'm saying is they're going to put more draconian laws. Even a song, if you was to release a song that would uplift the black people, and that song is getting more and more views, then will make it more recognition. So that person will play in a concert, uplift the black people in a good way. They don't want that. For example, not rocka, but reggae. For example, some of the people now that are even white, like Rootsville, are saying every man, every nation, boom shakalak, a song by Rootsville. And in those words, he's saying every person, every man is going to be uplifted. And they are trying, but what's happening is to these bands, they are trying to stop these things being played on many stations. So they will come after those things as well. They will only not come after the unintelligent ones, just like burn fire, burn everything down and everything. They will not come after that. You understand?
So Reece,
you know,
I mean, sorry.
So basically,
yeah, go on.
So basically,
Reece.
what it is this link tax bill will come on that, and this means any great song, not just copyright, but any song that you release as well. If you was to do on your own thing, you had your own drums, you had your own guitars, you play, which is impossible. But if you did the words as well, they can remove that. They will say no. This is a bit bad. This is a bit thing. It's going to uplift. They can remove it, and this is what they will do. They will put more draconian things. Then that means they will have the right to cut down on your station. They will have the right to close off some of the things, the history as well, that they put, like Marcus Garvey, how he was assassinated, how Martin Luther King, how the Boulay Group. Now, I'm learning a lot more by this caller before Reece, and Reece as well. I'm learning from all these callers, especially the caller Fiona, when she came on, and all the other callers. I'm learning, I'm being educated by them. And I'm learning more new things every day when I listen to this show. And the last thing that I need is, now look, you have to agree, you've got 4 presenters now. 4. Yeah? 3 actually. You, Angela, Seishura, and what's the other man's name? Dr. X. I don't know what happened to Nibble. No one knows what happened to Nibble, whether they have deported him or not. I don't know. But he was dealing with immigration and thing, and he had this thing set up. But I don't know. And every one of you leads at some point. Every one of you leads to a point. Every one of you. And I'm telling you right now, that this is a station that I'm listening to right now, and even D-Row tries to be, and everyone leads to a different point. Whereas this one station, that I can't say its name, it's all white presenters, and it's a mainstream station. And you know how they did me, brother? They did me very badly. And I stopped phoning them up. Because someone told me, Burchak, don't phone this station ever again. Don't do it. Yeah? They have producers. Yeah? Different producers. They have also a beat button. You know what I'm talking about. Everyone knows what station I'm talking about. All the presenters are white. They don't have an Asian presenter there. They have European or white. And this thing, I tried to phone them up, and I said that SNP are racist. All parties, nationalists, are racist. The man got so upset. He said the SNP are racist. He cut me off. I tried to talk to him about anything. I said, I learned this from the community stations, which you're not to. He cut me off. He said, God knows what happened. Then it was about another thing I phoned up. It was about online banking. Yeah? And I said that it's risky, right, Heru? Yeah? Now, especially when a hacker can come in and take all your credit, like, for example, or put a virus in and take down all your credit. You know, online banking is very risky, right, isn't it? Yeah? If you have credit, and you're going to online banking now, it can be risky. Yeah? And when I tried to explain to him, he started, I couldn't answer the question, and I didn't have none of you to help, obviously, because obviously you wasn't doing the show that time, and I couldn't ask anybody. You know, if I had Reese as a friend, he would help me, or someone would help me and counter-attack the thing, and Reese would say, let me take over this phone. But no one was there, you know, and I got cut off, and they was like, oh, he wasn't answering the question, this and that. So basically, what I'm trying to tell you is things that are being turned around in that station. And right now, I don't listen, I listen to you, because you are something that's different to me. You know, you have enlightened me. You have enlightened the things. Also, being about collective and thing. Now, wasn't it now Martin Luther King died? Then what they did was Michael Jackson. Now I know you're gonna disagree with me. You're gonna say, well, these are the truth. When did you remember the video he did about bad? Yeah. The video at the back.
Yep.
Did you watch Bad, the video? All those signs he was doing. Now he was a handsome man. Yeah. He was.
I don't know about that.
What happened was. Yeah. Now, when he was dancing at the back, you saw bad, the Illuminati signs and everything, and he was trying to cuss the Illuminati in such a way. In that thing, after bad, his career went down. Billie Jean beat it. All those things, yeah, because he had conscious songs, yeah, and not just the beats and not just the thing. Beat it. He's saying run for it, because they kick you and they beat you and they beat, and this is what they're doing now. Yeah, you can't take on all on the army. He's saying run for your life, yeah, or find a space, cover. You know, he was making these things, and that's when they started to come for him. His face being attacked, yeah. Now people are saying, "Oh, he bleached his skin." No, the truth is coming out. Yeah, okay. Now the truth is coming out. And people are starting to know, because he tried to reunite the people, you know. And he became, and obviously they were looking at him and they were cussing him. Then they had the allegations with children, which then starts to come out now that it's fake.
So Bertrand, what do you think is our greatest impediment that we face, or greatest problem we face, as not only as a black community but as a community of people? What is it that we face, you know, that's going to hold us back? Quickly, well, before in a few words. Go on.
I don't want to involve, like as I said before, I've been involved in many community issues, you know, and many people have been telling my beloved mother about what I've been saying. They're saying, why is he being involved in black issues? These come from some people that I know, some people. But if I wanted to say and break my silence and say it's the biggest impact, because, like, you know, they've got agents out there and things out there and infiltrators and this and that, and it's dealt from many, many things, because now everyone's for himself. and especially this capitalist system. Obviously, it's a genetically modified food, and when you say people aren't waking up, like for example, your community, I think there's 3 million or 4 million black people, and the reason is because these slowed genetic food that we're eating, drinks that we're drinking. I see now on the bus, I see the biggest thing is I see many black people, I see them going to chicken or kebab places or this or that. And basically I see many of my community going to these places as well, and especially I told you about the phosphate that they had in the kebab. And there's lots of million people in Germany, and there's a lot of black people in Germany as well as Turkish people. And guess what? They just all silenced for the phosphate. They didn't come out and say, we want phosphate off these kebab things. What happened now? They're putting phosphates in. Every of the kebab shop that I went to, which I'm not naming, they're saying we won't add phosphates, but yes, there's something in the meat. I'm telling you, before the meat used to taste better, now it's different. And I don't know what to do, because I can't just do this on my own. And when I start to talk and when I start to say things, that can get me into trouble, as I told you before. And it is the People's Talk Show. And what is, Heru, and I'm saying this, the People's Talk Show, it was designed, the people say their issues or what issues concern them. I've got many issues that concern, for example, which there's no investigation, but when the TV station comes on, maybe they will have the money to get these lines working and investigation as well, and scouts as well.
Okay, Bertrak, I want to thank you for your interjection. Well taken, yeah? And
and maybe I might call back about the case scenarios, that thing basically. I've said some, but maybe there is going on in your community right now. And basically, so I just want to thank you, for allowing me, but I will let other callers in more, because I don't want to shoot myself in the foot and involve in your community issues. But I've seen people, I've read up on things, people are saying, oh, this and that and this and that, but now I'm starting to know the truth of Michael Jackson. And remember, don't believe in what people are saying. Oh, I believe this king. Those are not fans of him. They hated him for the reason that because he done that bad video and he done the things about Jews as well, the lyrics, and he had to change. But then they still attacked his face. That made him. And then when some people had killed him, some of those weren't investigated. So there's a lot of things that's going to unravel soon. And Prince as well. Prince, because he started not to go against the recorder. He said, I'm not doing this. And look at Prince. Look what happened with Prince. So there's a lot of things.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah.
Have a good day.
Respect all the time.
I might call back.
Yeah, man. Okay, thank you. Right, you're in tune to Genesis Radio, and it's the People's Talk Show, and it's your host Heru here. Thank you for that interjection, Bertrak. And his idea and thoughts is that the biggest impediment that we face is the matter of trust in the organisations called the governments. Can we trust them to not poison our food? But see, for me, with the length of time that they've been talking about this poisoning of the food, I think we should be dead 10 times over. You know what I mean? Now, sometimes, I'm quickly reminded of the little act that especially the Africans have in explaining their spirituality, when they said when Obatala told Oshun, I think it was, Obatala, Ogun, the Odulamari told Obatala to go and kill some people. No, he allowed Obatala to kill people. He said only kill 15. I don't know why, if he was feeding Obatala's greed, because he was created for that. I'm not too sure. but he said you allow you to kill 15 people, but only 15. And when he left and he let Abatala came back from his journey, he said, Abatala, I thought I told you only to kill 15 people. And I used this analogy before. You must have heard it from me before. And he said, but Master, I have only killed 15 people. And no, he said, no, there's 20 dead. He said, no, well, Master, I killed Oludumare, I killed only 15, but you see the other 5, they died of fright. And that kind of reminds me of the situation about this food thing or whatever, the drinking water. And I don't know, but probably they know this is a epidemic also, so they will allow us to kill our own selves through fright. And again, through the scrambling of the hypothalamus, through our own fear. And they feed it on us because we should be dead 10 times over already. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be wary of things like the water we drink or the food we eat, but sometimes when we're over-occupied in the mind with these things, they do that. It's what we've been talking about earlier on. What's the greatest impediment? And I think the minds of the people are also an impediment in the sense because they're so fickle. And that's why, you listen to the shows like Heru show during the week to strengthen the mind, to remove all of this fear of the mind. And so you won't be affected by this self-destructive program that, if you want to believe it or not, are on the agenda as to... See, we're worried about the human agenda. But see, to me, I'm not ready to... The way I escape that is, I'm not overly concerned about what any human may say he may intend to do. Because I know that this world is not run by a human. It's run by the divine intelligence. So you see, the kind of information that you take in, the information that will either balance you or it will be unbalancing you, causing you to live a sort of negative mode of lifestyle where you have fear. It's like that's why I'm beginning to doubt these Back to Africa groups, whether they're part of the Bula group, brethren, because they always are trying to keep us permanently awake on the fact that we are slaves, brethren. That's their job, and I'm thinking maybe they're part of the Ebola group that Brethren was talking about earlier on, that the underhand Illuminati to keep us constantly. And I'm going to look at that symbol I saw outside the last organisation on the wall. I see him do a certain symbol. I'm wondering, and the way they keep talking about slavery all the time, and back to Africa all the time, it kind of wants, it's kind of sort of distract me. From worrying about not the way that our particular stance in the community, and the fact that we have 300 billion spending power. Come on. I don't know why this... Could you call back again, please? I don't know why this stupid phone won't open. You know when you're trying to slide it across and it just refuses to open. So could you call back again, please? Was it? Last caller. I'll try again because I just couldn't open the phone. The stupid touch slide phone thing going on here. So could you call back, caller? Yeah, so you see, these are the things that we are not stupid. And I wish people would stop treating us like we're some sort of a fools. You think you can come and just feed me about my my ethnicity like that, or my need to go back home? I can never understand that. So they are part of it. Okay, you're live on Genesis.
Yeah, hello, Heru. I'm ringing in, really, not to have a go at you. Oh, shoot. I'm surprised you've never heard of Steve Coakley. I am so surprised you of all people have never heard or seen any videos of Steve Coakley and what he's famous for. And, you know, this is a hero. This is a champion. This man struggled and fought. I fought with the best of them. I have to ask you, have you ever heard of Corinne Telbro?
Well, see, Reese, me and you studied two different things, you know. I'm not going to study everything. I'm not going to study everything you studied, brethren. I studied my own people.
No, I'm not asking you.
So, because I haven't heard of the brother doesn't mean a damn thing. You know. What's that to do with a bag of chips? Like, you know what I mean? No biggies. There's thousands.
It's not a pot.
You know what I mean?
Bruv, it's not a pot shot. Yeah,
well, go on then.
It isn't.
Yeah, but you're asking me two
for
questions.
For instance, I stand firm, as they would say, on the square. I am a young creationist. Ain't nobody gonna beat me on that. I don't give a.
Are you blowing your own trumpet again? Reese. Come on, we've had that.
Sorry?
Are you blowing your own trumpet again, brethren?
No. Oh. You don't know what I've got. What I got, I don't blow about. What is priori is priori. So that don't matter to me. 1 on 1 is true. Whether you believe it or know of it, that's up to you. The only reason why you don't know certain things that I say that is priori is because you keep interrupting and talking over me and fighting me down. You're not the only person. You're not the only person. But when you meet me in person, Reggie, it's like magic.
Your point,
I don't know I can do this to you. That's not the point.
Your point
and
is...
I'm not blowing a trumpet and I'm saying it's not about knocking you down. I was just surprised. I was shocked. I'm like, you don't know Coakley? You're saying Oakley? You've never heard of Steve Coakley? And the Boulay, not the Boulay or whatever. Boulay. You don't know the Boulay? No. Oh, well, you know about Marcus Garvey, and he tried to bring him down, and who set it up, and the whole nation of Islam coming in, and
you see, I'm
the NAACP and all this is nonsense to you. You know this
I'm
stuff.
a more spiritualist, Fred. You know Raul Nefer? Do you know Raul Nefer?
Yeah, but I mean, okay. Sorry, I'm just a historian, so I go back.
There you are. Two different disciplines, brethren.
No problem. I try to be. They say jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah.
But you can be sorry. You can be, I forget the word. I'm trying to find the word just to put it into the lexicon of people. You can be very skilled on many different formats. Law, not bad, not great. I used to work behind a barrister. You know, I learned a lot seeing what's going on back in the day. But I am a historian primarily. And if you understand history and understand defining history, and anybody knows anything about E.H. Carr and his view on history or historians, so it's a decent read to understand. But I don't think a lot of people on the radio actually understand anything of history. They get a hearsay version, a Hollywoodized version. That sounds cool and comforting. And babies like comforters. If that's the case, that people like comforters, then they're infantilized and they will never rise above. And if to be above that of the infantilization makes you a marked man and outside the realm of anything, that's why you will find a lot of people of my color who are intellectuals are recruited by Ford Foundation to work for them. They're given loads of grants and monies to work for them because people of not the same, they reject knowledge. Scientia.
Can I ask a question?
That's where science comes from.
Well, let me ask knowledge. Let me call to know. That's why it's the Latin is secrete. Let me ask a question. How many levels of certificates you've got? You know, for you know, I mean A levels. How many, you know, intellectual, you know, certificates that you?
Well, that would be boasted, wouldn't it?
No, I wouldn't. I just want to know.
In some people's eyes, that would be boasted.
No, I don't know about them. I just want to know how many you've got. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's necessary, and the reason why I don't think it's necessary because Jesus never had one.
Huh?
Whether you believe the character Jesus, Yeshua the Messiah, at all, whether you believe him or not, or believe that he existed or not, he never had one.
You never had none.
Knowledge is not. Knowledge is time and energy.
So
and patience.
How many exams have you sat? How many qualifications have you got? Recognized qualifications.
What do you want me to say?
I don't want to say.
What do you want to say? You're going to use it on me.
I asked a simple.
Over the head. Say, oh, you think you're this
no. You're telling me about all this intellectual suave that you have. I just want to know how many exams you sat.
No, I'm just trying to get people's minds right. Getting them away from the EastEnders. Get them away from the date, come think me now, or come whatever the shows are that gets everybody arguing. I stopped watching television in 2005. I've got one now, admittedly, but they've got a lot of nature programs, and I'm a sucker for nature. Because you look at the animal kingdom, it teaches, it's biblical. It teaches humans a lot.
So you haven't got any?
A lot.
Yeah, but so you haven't got none then, have you? Have you really, have you?
Well, if it sounds like I haven't got none, and that satisfies you, that's good. I don't mind.
It's not me, Brad.
We can have a good conversation.
No, I'm not running you down. No, please. I'm not disrespecting you, but you're the one that keep coming and telling people. So I figured, let me ask you, because it sounds like you got you got a whole heap of qualifications. Because my son can throw down about 20 them on the floor. Here, Dad, is all my certificate for that. You know what I mean? But you are saying that I just want to make sure that my thinking is correct, because I'm thinking you've got a whole heap, Bridget. You sat a whole heap of exams and qualifications, or your wall's full of them.
Let's just say, I'll give you 2 points. When I had a couple of O-levels, a few, right? I was dating a girl who went to Cambridge, and you know Cambridge is not just one college, but she did go to Cambridge. When we debated issues, I'd always win. It wasn't because I was getting heated or wanting to, heave up my chest. On a logical point, she couldn't win.
But you went to Cambridge, you say? You say you studied in Cambridge, did you?
No, I did not.
Oh, okay. I thought you said that. Okay.
I did not study in Cambridge.
Okay. Right.
I said, in other words, there's always been a kind of something about me that teachers recognize and say, you've got so much potential. Why are you hanging out with them boys? You could do so much. And that time, I was just going with the flow. And that was the lads and having a crack. When I investigated me and got a conscience, then I started to say, well, what is this about and why am I here? Then I had that kind of like recollection of being born before I was born. Now we're going to something really deep. What do you mean, born before you're born?
So you're a layman.
Everybody was the same way.
So you're a layman then. You're a layman, yeah? What people call layman, yes? Your layman knowledge. You're educated in a layman fashion. You've educated yourself, basically, is what you're saying, right?
I was doing that before I got any papers, put it that way.
Oh, you got papers? Make your mind up, Bruce. I ask you, what papers have you got?
I don't really, I'm not that bothered. The war, you're asking a question that opens a Pandora's box of stuff that you haven't got the patience to listen to understand why, for argument's sake, Ofsted exists. Why the schools are dominated by females. You won't even accept the blatant evidence that all men
are smarter than ladies. No, we're not going on that road, Reese. We're not going on that road. Okay? Yeah, you're damn right. Open a Pandora's box.
That's your emotion kicking in.
No, but I'm just saying,
now, you give me the evidence. Okay. You give me the evidence to counter what I'm saying.
Well, put it this way.
That's all.
It's not going to be that argument today, Reese. So I want
you see, you asked something, and I said it's going to be a Pandora.
Yeah, no, it doesn't be a either.
So I know. At some stage, remember we used to have a debate years ago. It took you 7 years to figure out, and then now you're on. Now you would agree that you were wrong. Then I'm telling you now. I'll tell you now. I'm about 15 years ahead of you on that particular topic that you emotionally kick into.
And
the funny thing is, when I don't mind. Hey, listen, there are females with PhDs scared of me. Why? And you could have that debate right here to find out all the facts and see that it's a bad fight to have with me or anybody. Have you ever heard of Jordan Peterson?
No.
Jordan B. Peterson.
No. But Reese, it's not a free for. It's not a free for all now. We want to stick to the topic here.
I'm not saying. You got to understand. You got to understand, right? Or at least try to see it from my position for once, right? I'm not a bully. I'm on a
you could have fooled me, brethren.
To help humanity, and I don't like the way the feminists are putting women in harm's way, based upon a lie.
Is that another impediment? Is that a great impediment that we face today? That's what I'm interested in.
Yes, it is, because we're the canary, if you call it the proverbial we, which I'd never like to use. Only the social constructionists come with this, we this, we think this. I'm not about. Stop it. You know what I mean? There's no strawman argument. Don't invite me in on that. I'm saying the feminists are harming women. And they've been doing it for a long time. And when you catch them, they say, "Well, that was wave 1 and wave 2 and feminist wave 3 and we do we have a feminist wave 4?" They keep changing the goalposts, but it's feminism, and it's based at its core on a lie. I have the books. I have done the reading. I've told you already. Get your best feminist. Pay her to come to the studio. Get Jermaine Greer. I wrote something about her. I would tear her up some new ass. So, you've got to understand, as a historian, you're powerful because you've gone and looked at the documents, whether they're first-hand documents or second-hand documents. You've read the commentators, of course, not every commentator, and I have my own library. You look at the houses that they're building right now.
So it's what?
They call it affordable housing. They give you no space to have a library, so you can't even educate your own.
You don't need a library, brethren. You can go on your phone. You've got bags of library on the phone. But what I'm trying to say to you is, right, why is it an impediment to our community that we, not only to blacks, but to the human community as a whole? Why is that going to hold? Why is feminism an impediment, brethren?
The impediment is not what somebody puts up to attack you with. The impediment is yourselves.
Why is it a problem? Why feminism is such a problem to our community? That's what I'm trying to establish, brethren.
Because when we do, and I'm using the collective we, when there is a radio station, a community radio station, guys generally use it to get gal, and gal generally use it to push themselves to say they're superwomen, and they push the feminist argument. And guys that want women will flatter the girls about feminism, and they'll do everything that a strong woman wouldn't do, and then claim how strong they are after them put their face where they shouldn't have. It's crazy, but we got the wrong people on air speaking. You got a man that don't even have an O level, and he's a CEO of a radio station. How does that work? Think about it.
What? You got, because he ain't got no papers. He's not worthy to be listened to. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I didn't say that.
So what are you saying, bro?
Don't add to it.
Okay, well, now what are you saying?
Anybody that owns a newspaper, that owns a media, and takes it serious, you don't have to be a person of papers. You don't have to have the letters after your name, but you must know, by dint of understanding people, the best people for the job. Put them in.
So
you seek them out. You headhunt them and say, "Can you rep my show? I like what you say. I like your intelligence. You got something that I learn from every time you speak. I want you to get the comfort. I don't want you to get you shut down. I'll pay you. I'll do this. Come in, girl. Come in, lad." We need good educators. We don't need repeaters. And we've got a lot of repeaters. I mean, there's a guy out there, who talked about Barack Obama was the first black president. It was John Hanson. Who exposed that lie?
Yeah, but you still hasn't told us.
Who exposed that lie?
You haven't told us why is it an impediment.
Who exposed that lie?
But you haven't told us yet. And I can't remember recently. We've got other people who probably want to call in. All I want from you is to tell me why is feminism an impediment, a block, a stumbling block in the way of our community development. Then that's what I'm interested in.
Okay. I'll have to do I'm going to do a very, very, very short. I can't do it because time, and you basically want to answer. Feminism is based upon a lie, right? It's not true in any shape, form, or fashion. That's why it's an impediment. If you buy your life on a lie, sorry, I think the Bible has a chapter in it about building, a wise man building his house on the rock. Anybody who builds a house on sandy ground is going to come crashing down. And the only how they can prolong that is by bringing in laws of hate speech. He's amazed bringing it in now. Because she knows what... Listen, look, I'm at a Russell group. That's where, you know what I mean? And they get my stuff. They read my stuff. They know that it was coming down the pipeline. And she needs to hate it up at the pass. That's why she's talking about something. You think I'm kidding. You ain't Rick. You don't know. I'm using the medium as the teaching mode it's supposed to be. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 19, says any medium, anywhere. That's up to me. That's up to you. I would never fight down somebody who's talking sense. I used to think Muta Baruka talked sense. And slowly, like, I see athletes here and I would deal with him.
So what? Doesn't he talk sense then? You don't think Muta Baruka talking sense? You know what? I'm inclined to agree with you, you know, to be honest with you.
You don't think?
Huh? I don't think he talks sense at all. And I tell you the truth.
No, some things, you know, because he's used to it. He's got a lot of backing and stuff like that. People think he's like demigod, semigod, or whatever.
I've never listened to him. I've never listened to him.
I don't say you. But it took me a while to suss him out. And I'm like, bro, you barbecue sausage for me. So anybody want to set that up, it won't be pretty for him. I'm sorry, I just don't do this. I just rust the business. Yeah. I am an educator and a historian, and the facts are what they are. You lie to the people, you're no better than a freaking false preacher. And them.
You know what? I can't take
them too.
Yeah, but listen, Rita, I can't take the Bakawa language thing because you know what? My parents.
My bad.
My parents used to chastise me in that language. You see what I mean? Not because I'm.
Sorry, my mum.
I don't think I'm an Englishman. No, because you see, when it comes down to those kind of language, I remember mums cuss me in that language. Hey boy, boy. So when I hear somebody trying to educate the masses, with that toi, it really does my brain in because it's the trick. And I heard a lot of other stations got this twang going on, which is for my home brethren, my own private life. I don't want you to use it on me on a public affair because that only makes it ethnic. Other people won't understand it. So it's just
I agree with you.
Basically ethnic.
You have to look at it from my perspective.
Can't take it.
I understand, and I abhor it myself. But I am not in my playground. In my playground, and you take the unadulterated one-way education, and you take it, or you leave it, and say, well, that's too much for me. I don't mind that. I'm just collating a few videos, and once I've got enough, I'll let you know exactly where you can get these lessons. And I'm going to expand on those lessons and do some PowerPoint presentations as well. At the end of the day, knowledge is something that we need and we lack it. And if any of them die out there.
You see, the thing is, Reese.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, the thing is,
right. Into that colloquialism.
Sorry,
and I agree.
Yeah, sorry. But the thing is, for me, it's a universal. I want to be educated when I go to college. Don't educate me in Jamaican. Don't say, hey, today we're gonna start learning about this. If I went to the higher education and I heard twang like that being used in the higher education, then I will be inclined to look at that as in an educative way. But you don't find that in the higher circles, brethren. That's from a yard. That's from a house.
Well, the funny thing is, sometimes you need to kind of like use a tool to appreciate how they said that. I don't think that's necessary. Some people think if you use the Queen's English, you're bougie or you're trying to be something else.
That's right.
But Muta Baruka don't sound like an Englishman to me, and he's got a cult following. And I think to myself, okay, I've listened to him, and I think he's confident when they give him a fish.
Listen, man.
And makes mint out of the set-up fish. But reality is a different thing. I don't know it all. And there's certain things he has said. Waterloo. That's what I'm going to say with that. And for those who believe in feminism and all that it stands for, who can read about it, look at yourself look stupid. Because you're only going to call a crowd around and you're going to get embarrassed by me. I'm going to show you. I've had enough embarrassments in my life, you know what I mean, to know directly. I know what humbling experience is. So I'm not trying to beat or my horn. This is the reality. There's people out there who they were educated from the day they were born. They were born into money and born into education, and they didn't have any of the obstacles by the way. I'm an old dude now, and I think that if anybody thinks I'm intelligent, think of the guys that had it from birth, and I've just acquired it by serendipitous means, if you will.
All right, Reese, I want to thank you for that. I want to push on. Yeah, thank you for your second interjection. Enough of respect. Bless up, Irie. Yeah. All right, you're in tune to Genesis Radio, and it's the People's Talk Show, and you're in tune. Your host is Heru. Time is now fast approaching 5:33 and counting, and your last half, just under half an hour left to go, and we'd like to invite your calls. We've had a session asking what is the greatest impediment to our development or growth in society at the moment, and we had the people saying it's something to do with the Illuminati and plans for underhand going on there to keep us always in the throes of some problem. We named a few: Bowl and Steve Coakley. Bowl, is it Bowl? Boulay. The Boulay is the problem, right? With the Steve Coakley. Order of the Garter, Boulay introduced in the order. Was it in Coakley? It was Marcus Garvey, or one of them men was inducted in the order or something like that. And there's another caller talk about the Lynn tax or the Lynn tax. And then they have a recent focus on feminism, and it seems to be varied. And this is what I'm saying, but nothing so far about racism. So they don't really think that racism is a problem anymore. I listened to somebody the other day who still tries to have it that we're suffering from racism. So I'm wondering, for all of these personal, when I would talk about the despotism of people, that's what we suffer from. Because this is why I always say we have to look at it, life from a different plane. So from another plane, because that part is a well-beaten path. So we move on to another one. Is it the same for any other ethnic group? If our problems become specific and ethnic, like people are trying to, that's why I said, is the Back to Africa group also in line with the Boule? Because they're the ones that are also trying to keep us reminded and keep us narrow-minded in this idea that our problems are ethnic. Do you believe that? And I said about Mutabi Baruka, I can't listen to Mutabi Baruka because it's like an insult to me. Because it reminds me like my mum talking to my mum or my dad. And when I go out into the world of education, I don't hear that twang in the higher education. When you go to Jamaica and you turn the television on, listen to the news presenters, you don't even hear that twang there. So something must be wrong with that twang as a universal twang. And yet we have people in the historical diaspora, again, here in the UK, in London, southeast side of things, Peckham to be exact, using it as a tool of education. You can't do that. When I go for a job, I don't hear a man say, "Yo, what you want, brethren? You want a walk? Hey, make sure you can do this walk, you know." I don't hear people talking like that when I go for a job. You know what I mean? And when I go to college, I don't hear say, "Hey, today we're going to learn something today, you know. Yeah, what? Take out all of the book and a pencil, and I'm about to come back down there without any pen and a brethren. Make sure you bring a book, you know." I don't hear people talking like that when I go get myself educated. So why should I hear them talking like this? I suppose if Jamaica run the world, and then perhaps Jamaica wanted us to have that twang as a tool of education, then we could have had this argument. We could speak like that. But the movers and shakers of this Back to Africa ideology, why are they couched in this protest language as patois? which to me is a protest language. That's what we used to not to be totally taken over by the Caucasoid in our expression. Okay, you got about. I'll give you about 4 minutes, Bertrack. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, holding up there.
You got 4 minutes. Yeah,
and I tell you what. Now, I had this discussion before, accents and things. Do you know what's going to happen now? America, yeah, when they dictate to the world, and X was saying this as well, and thing. Now the country is Americanizing. So you're talking about Jamaican thing. When they come here one day, everybody is going to speak the worst part of American. You know, like Kendrick Lamar, Tupac. You know, the street kind of American. You're not going to hear because America will dictate these Masons or whoever they are. They will speak the beautiful kind of American, but they will dictate to you. These groups of people, they will dictate to you and how you speak, and you're going to see them be more powerful. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a school teacher or social worker or Lincolnshire, all them places. They're not going to talk on their accent. They're sweet. It's going to be like Tupac, yeah. You know, Kendrick Lamar. This is what's going to happen, and it's getting like this already. It's Americanizing.
Do you think so?
All the places, Snickers, chocolates, Americanizing. Everywhere's Americanizing. I went to my country and I saw chocolates that's Americanized.
Yeah.
I'm telling you this now, and what X is saying, is you, and I know you won't agree with him, but I'm thinking all the time I listen back to his things, and everything is starting to get things right. Like, I'm saying this now. The second thing is, before I go, issues. Now, have you ever had something called where, you know, he had to buy back his daughter. Basically, this black person, she's disabled. She falls in love with this Sierra Leonean guy. You know, Sierra Leone's hardcore Muslim, or Nigeria, some parts. Yeah, he goes over there. She goes over there, and he basically beats her up. Brings the eye purple or black. Comes back with the eye. Takes everything from her. All the you know, like she obviously had to give her pocket money to go to Sierra Leone, you know, so she can waste on, you know, the food and things like that, you know. And he takes everything from her, beats her up. Basically, Heru, I'm going to ask you this: if you had a daughter, and she is disabled, she's married to a Jamaican Muslim. Right? She's gonna get. She goes to Jamaica and she comes back with a black eye. He beats her up. The police turn the blind eye. You know the ghetto Kingston, where there's rubbish dumps, and like you know them houses where there's no bathroom, no toilet. You know, like a hard, you know, thing. She comes back beaten up. All the time he threatens you, he calls you enough names, like Satan, he's a Muslim. What would you do to that guy? She comes back home and she cries, she's trying to tell you, Heru, come, please come, you know, rescue me, and you too. What would you do to that guy? Wouldn't you get that guy? Wouldn't you strangle that guy? These are the cases that should be talked about. But how many of these cases are there? And Seishra highlighted one where he had to buy back his daughter because this man, I think it was his husband, whoever, you know, taking all these substances in Sierra Leone. It's a poor place. It's a very, very poor place, living in the tent. And in the end, he sells her off to the plantation. I'm telling you right now, Heru, and there are some things I'm disagreeing with you, like it's the same topic about these diaspora groups and everything. I mean, maybe, I don't know whether you should like change or whether you should bring someone who's actually been like this, you know, who's actually had a daughter fall in love with somebody and been trafficked and never been seen again. I don't know, Heru, because like it's the same thing like I know that you're the only presenter that's committed, but I know you had problems with another community station. I know when you was there, and you left this station not by choice, but I think argument you had.
No. I was no. Let me tell the truth. To tell the truth, bro, I was virtually kicked out. So unceremoniously. So with all of their trappings of brotherly love and all them kind of talk. That's why I say I don't trust these little Back to Africa groups because they're just as
I know
bad.
No, I'm talking about before
Yeah,
when
that's
you
right.
left.
Yeah. I never left, brethren. I was up to now. I don't even know what happened up to now.
Well,
that's what I'm saying.
Heru, there's a lot of people like at this moment in time. I think them like they have their different prerogatives. You have your different prerogative. I think you should be happy on it. And I think right now, and I know that they're putting you off this backer, but I think there should be many other topics that talked about. And if you be on, because remember, if like some people are saying this, I'm not going to say who they are, but some people are listening and saying that if you go on like this and go on, it could lose a lot of ratings. Like, I don't know what it is. I like you a lot, but there are some people that want a different change. Like I know you are upset with them. I know you were upset when you was on there, but now you should be very, very happy and now out the water to get about what they're doing. And I think there should be different agendas, because the Heru that I heard before talked about many, many different things. This includes the situation. I remember you had an initiation show for the spirituality, and then you had a political show for different matters in hand. And I don't know if it's going to come back to that. I think it needs to be forgotten about. Those diaspora, I don't know. I'm just trying to be constructive and I know that you can hear me out. I don't want to upset you by accident, but I think it should go. It should go from the mind, because now you're back in Genesis. You'll be like, yeah, I'm back in Genesis now. This, that, and then start because that was then. That was part, and I know you had a bad experience. Just like I had a bad experience in some place when I, in the Moseley Hospital, but I forgot about that now. And I had to, and I even missed the People's Talkshow, with Nibal at the time. I missed it, but I can't keep talking about, I need that show, I need that show, I need that show. People criticize me.
So Bertrand,
I remember I was talking about, I need that Dr. X show, and I was away that time. I need that. But now people are saying, forget about that show.
So Bertrand, hold on a minute.
Soldier on.
Yeah, Bertrand, hang on a minute. So why do you associate the Back to Africa group? You think, because when I'm talking about Back to Africa, you think I'm talking about the other station, right?
No, I mean, a lot of the shows that I listen to, for example, before that used to vary on different issues, and it was different, but now there's a lot of what you're trying to label now, the same Back to Africa. You mentioned this all on the other things. You mentioned this on many of the People's Talk Show, you think, and I think about them, I think you should, because you've gone from them now.
But
happy.
But hear what now? The thing about it, I'm not really on them. I'm really on saving the people from being hoodwinked. You see what I'm trying to say to you? I cannot be here allowing people to be hoodwinked, brethren.
I know that.
I'm saying to you, I got to provide a different platform for people to understand, and you would see that because they're herding people in under the disguise of liberation. So my point is, I have to provide an alternative so they can make an informed choice. Not being, not allowing people to have no alternative. I'm just here to provide an alternative, not to tackle them.
I know.
Not to fight them.
I know.
But I'm providing an alternative way of thinking, brethren, and that's how it is.
I understand that.
You know what I mean?
I understand that. But before I go, I'm just saying that obviously you can talk about them and the experiences that you had there. But I think you can talk about them one week, but then you can always, talk about them, because you got 3, 4, or 5 shows during and including the People's Talk Show. And I think instead, like one show, you could talk about that, a little bit about this. But I think now that people have heard the message now, and people are thinking, just like me, I can't talk about, for example, from this station, I didn't have that Dr. X show, I didn't have that, because the more I put it in my mind, I like you had a very, very, very bad experience there, and these Back to Africa groups, you went in there, you went in that community station. I know you had a bad experience, but I think, well, throughout the week, there are different things you can do, apart from as well, one on spirituality, one on the Back to Africa, maybe one on the, things that you might find out from somebody, like someone whose daughter's been trafficked, someone who's not getting a good house. There's many things that your community are going through that's even worse than what you've been on that other platform.
Well, see, Bertrand,
many things.
Yeah, Bertrand, you got to remember.
Some of them being section, some of them being hurting themselves.
Yeah, Bertrand.
Some of them killing themselves.
You have to remember, Bertrand, I do the tree of life every day. If you tune into my shows during the week, I'm talking about the tree of life, the organic frame of reference. I've been doing it from the time I come back here in Genesis. Even when I'm on the others platform, I was the first to bring the tree of life as an organic frame of reference, so to measure your ideas by. I wasn't just pulling ideas, manufacturing ideas from the mist. I had a organic frame of reference, which I do during the week. I always perform that. The tree of life, Medunetta. That's what I'm on. I've always been on that from the first time I come on air. When I went on the other station, they never had any of that. All of a sudden,
I see.
Everybody else is all of a sudden now grand masters of it, when they used to talk about nothing else but African history, brethren.
Some people were just saying to me to tell you, that's all. Some people were saying that obviously you had that thing. And I'm not saying it, but some people
I know
saying no,
they would tell you that. They would say that to you to cover their wrongdoings and their hypocrisy. They would say that to you, but they can't. See, now they can't interfere with me now. Before they could tell me what to say. Oh, you can't say that. Say this. Say otherwise you're on the wrong bus. Get off the bus. You're taking the bus somewhere different. I had all of that. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm free of that.
I know.
Now I'm free of that. They can't say squat diddly to me. I'm free.
Now I'm happy.
Yes.
Now I'm happy. But some people are saying, now that you're on Genesis, not to talk about the same things they're saying to me. Basically, to have a different, maybe bring on, there's been many people, look, I've had a very bad experience at that hospital. At that mostly thing. And believe you, I had to sleep on. You know what? I had to forget it. Sometimes I'll talk about it if I had to, but many times now, if I was to go into the same things, like, for example, I'm not saying you, but you had a bad experience with that. But if I was to, they could say to me, get out, get the hell out, get out. That's what they would say, because my thing that I'm going to now, the work voluntary that I do, it is now it is now strict now. And sometimes, obviously the boss is very understanding. She's very nice. She's understanding. But if I say the same things again and again and again and again, I could be asked to move, or some people said not him again. So that's why I don't bring up maybe one day I will come up with it, not all the time, but that's what they're saying to tell you, just maybe not to pull you up.
Well, I tell you what, Bertrand, tell them to come and talk to me. Yeah, let me thank you for your interjection, right, Bertrand? Got to push on. Tell them to come and talk to me when they're ready. Yeah, enough respect. Thank you, Bertrand. Right, you're in tune to Genesis Radio, People's Talk Show, and we have DJ Riggs in the house coming on here very soon to round off your evening, put it into a nice mellow mode or whatever. I don't know what he's going to do today. You're gonna piss him off. You know, he's gonna piss you off today. No, I know he wasn't. It's an enjoyable selection of music, wonderful, to suit the atmosphere, the time, and everything. You can rely on DJ Riggs for that. So stay tuned. Coming on the top of the hour would be DJ Riggs and his selections of not R&B, is it? Yes, sir. R&B, a wonderful selection. So we look forward to that. So, yeah, thank you, Bertrack. Bertrack was saying there, but think about it, somebody told him to tell me to stop saying something. But Bertrack, why don't they come and tell me? You see, because they don't want me to tell them about that. This is what my opinion is now of what's the greatest impediment in our community at the moment that prevent us from not only black, this is the trouble, this black thing. I mean, why are we fighting a war of colour? When we're the ones that are complaining about colour before, was colour that caused us to be in the position that we are, and we're turning around using the same thing. This is what baffles me and puzzles me. I think it confuses the issue, because you can't move on if there's bare confusion there, can you? You don't know where to go. You don't know what to believe. The historical African are not, the historical diasporan African are not saying the same thing as the contemporary African. The contemporary African told the historical diasporans in no uncertain terms there won't be any new dispensation for you. That's what they're telling them, The CARICOM, really upset about that. And these little fringe groups that we got here in the UK of about 300 people or so, after about 37 years, that shows you, right? They need to change their order. But you know what I mean? And they're saying now that the AU, to me, right? And as far as I'm concerned, if I'm going to get any information about Africa, I'm not going to get it from none of these little liberation fringe groups, despotism of individuals, bedrin. Because really, all these little fringe groups we're at the despotisms of these founders and leaders, because they can muscle in on you and they can manipulate you through your emotions, brethren. And this is what I'm trying to provide, an alternative, so you can make an informed choice. I'm trying to break that spell that they have over you when they mention the words Africa and liberation. You see? I'm trying to help break that spell. The weavers, the spinners, the like witches around the cauldron that have that power to mesmerize your mind with Africa, and the next minute whack you. No, they have an idea of the community problem. But because they are focused somewhere else, all I'm saying is they cannot be a catalyst for development. As the first caller saying, that he agreed with me. He said, listen, they're so focused somewhere else that yet they jump on every problem that ever comes to us. They're the first to open their mouth about it. Not that they're interested in it, brethren, because they cannot be interested in it if their focus is on back to Africa. But they want to take on all of our community's problem, and in their organisation they say we're a community organisation. That's a trick, brethren. You're not a community organisation because you are focused on the motherland, the little piece of land that the tectonic plates broke up and left. You think that's Africa. What about the rest of Africa? You're not concerned. That's why I said definitely they cannot be the catalysts for any of our psychological development. That's why I wonder if they're working with the Boule, constantly keeping us entrapped psychologically and telling us that we are our slaves and we are the children of the kidnapped people. You're having a laugh. How come no one's telling them to change their tune? Telling them to say something different. They ain't going to say nothing different, brethren. They're not the matriarch, the matriarch, spinner and weaver of this illusion, right? Will always be available for that, but never available for the community's problems. And we have to understand this. If you're going to deal with the community today, if the problems are of such, and the problems of participation, problems of how to leverage £300 billion of spending money. We are rich as a community, but somebody keeps like oil in the water. They keep dropping this oil of culture and identity crisis. They keep dropping in the water. They are the ones that are preventing us from growing, brethren. The problems is our community, and we have to stick to it. We have to be 100% committed. We haven't got time for anything else. And we are not Thunderbirds. We're not international rescue. We don't go about rescuing every magnesium that there is all over the world. We're not Thunderbirds, brethren. You know, we already spread thin. They say we're in a war. I can't find this theatre of war anywhere. I'm looking for, this war that they keep talking about. Is it real or is it imagined? That's the thing. Somebody's pulling the wool over our eyes here. That's not allowing us to be able to leverage all of this wealth. Don't forget, we spend £300 billion. Can you imagine if we could divert that into our community? But that's not the case. Oh well, come to the end of the show, folks. Time is 5:50 and counting. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed myself here for a while on the People's Talk Show. I won't be here until Thursday. So if you tune in on Thursday afternoon from 1 o'clock onwards, then you can find me. I'm looking to do an evening slot as well. So I look forward to that, to your company. Stay tuned to the next presenter, DJ Riggs, who's going to turn your afternoon into evening. It's already evening, but into later evening. So settle down and just hug up to your loved ones. Turn the radio up and have DJ Riggs in your house, in your front room, or even in your bedroom. Don't worry, you can't see nothing. So you know what I mean. There's no way he's gonna know what you're doing. So just stay tuned, and I look forward to your company once again very soon. That's on Thursday. I hope it's been informative for you. This is the greatest revelation that we are children of gods and goddesses, not kidnap people. Get that out of your head. Ain't no children no kidnap, brethren. Why you want me to think that? Anyway, so we look forward to our true liberation, to our true nature, our godlike self. How about that? Isn't that wonderful, folks? I hope it's wonderful for you. And so I look forward to your company Thursday. Remember, Thursday on the 1 o'clock in the afternoon session and stuff like that. Well, there's only one thing left for me to say, and that is what I've always say, and that is, this is Heru saying,
accept your own and be yourself. Genesis Radio thanks you for your visit.
If you use your phone while